It's time for Tuesday Night Live Chat with Brian S. Red and John Young. Good evening, and welcome to Tuesday night on DJNTV. It is early for us.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, this is like almost supper time typically.
Yeah, we're 2 hours early.
2 hours early. But the reason why we're doing this early tonight is because we've got a ton of sessions. I'm not even sure how many sessions we've got, like 12 of sessions, something like that, of educational content coming out for you guys tonight.
A cavalcade, if you will.
A cavalcade. That's a nice word. That's the word of today.
Thank you.
Cavalcade. I like that. I like that a lot. So Brian and I are going to be your host tonight, kind of bouncing between the sessions and watching the chat rooms and kind of following along. So if you guys have got something you want to say or throw out there, put it in the chat. Tonight, during the show, we're going to be giving away two $100 certificates to NLFX Pro. So when we get to those points, we will tell you what to write in the chat. The chat only on YouTube. That is, we're not going to. There's going to be a Facebook stream going out there, but you've got to be on YouTube, and we'll put the link in. So if you're on Facebook, you can pop out to YouTube. But we'll be doing two of those, and then towards the end of the night, we'll also be giving away the presenter's $500. The second one of those is a $500 shopping spree at NLFX, because all the folks who put their time into creating those were entered. Creating the videos were entered in for the drawings tonight. So yeah, all right, we got some cool stuff. So Brian, we had a great night last night, and now tonight. We've got people from literally all over the world, and many of them, like Scrappa, are people we've met in the chill room.
Yes, Scrappa from Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah, and we've got
joining us tonight.
Yeah, there's
Trevor.
Sharman. Trevor's coming in. We've got representation from the UK tonight. Gosh, there's people across the United States, DJs across the United States, and talking about different things. So
we have DJ Liam from Bremen, Germany, joining us in the chat here on YouTube as well.
Excellent.
We've got JC from Mexico City, just kind of looking around. Bill Marsh from, I want to say Baltimore, the Baltimore area. So we've got all kinds of people who I'm just recognizing in the chat already who are saying hello to us. Excellent.
Yeah, thank you guys for being with us tonight. And we'll be getting to those drawings and different things as we go through the evening. So we've got a lot of content we want to get to, so we're going to jump right into our first segment tonight, and then we'll be back and chatting throughout the evening. Kicking us off tonight, we've got our own Michael Joseph here from the DJNTV channel. MJ is going to be kind of talking a little bit about curating your music for your events and such, and kind of doing it maybe thinking about it just a little bit different. Here's Michael Joseph.
Hi, I'm DJ Michael Joseph, and in my 3+ decades of being a DJ, I have had more conversations with other DJs about songs or music libraries than I ever want to remember. One of the things that seems to always amaze me and always come up in the conversations that we have is that I'm surprised by how many DJs out there actually don't spend a lot of time working with their music library, or at least not as much as I think they should. They might say that they work on their library, but what they're doing is that they are more or less mass downloading songs from whatever subscription service they pay for. Those songs go into a hard drive and at most may be scanned and never looked at again until they search for it. Now, one of the things I always talk about in my DJ classes is that I believe every DJ should curate their own music library. In my opinion, downloading mass amounts of songs and scanning them isn't curating a library. You just become a song hoarder at that point. If you don't know what you have and you're not able to put it to use within a few seconds, those songs then to me are just clutter and waste. Now let's take a look at a DJ as if he or she was a carpenter, okay? A carpenter has all kinds of different tools, just like a DJ does. A DJ has speakers and microphones and computers and controllers and all kinds of stuff like that. But what every DJ must have is songs. Now let's say I hire you to be a carpenter on some project that I'm working on, and you pull up to the job site and your tools are all just piled in the back of your pickup truck. There's no order, nothing's in any cases, it's just scattered everywhere, no boxes or anything. I probably would take a look at you and go, okay, that is not a professional carpenter. If your music library was like those tools, how would you look to other professional DJs? Would you look like you knew what you were doing, or would you just look like you're phoning it in? Now, having all the songs doesn't matter as much as you think it does. If you have terabyte after terabyte of song, but you don't know what you have, or even worse, only put a small percentage of them to use, what does that say for your creative mindset when it comes to DJing? If a carpenter had every single tool in the world but didn't know how to use half of them, I think that would be kind of sad. You might also say, I don't need to worry about my music library. I've been spending for years and I'm fine. But here's some food for thought. In case you don't know, there is a whole generation of DJs out there that spend time hunting and digging for songs. You might not notice these DJs because you might be used to a generation of DJs that go to an actual physical store and dig through actual crates of records or CDs. But this generation digs through digital versions of songs, and they know what to play, they know when to play it, and their sets are always fresh. They don't take whatever version of song their download service gives them. They go out and search for different versions of songs to see what might work in different places, and they're not afraid to try those different versions out. Let's go back to the carpenter, for example. The DJ that I talked about above, they would be the kind of DJ that would have all their tools in order. They would be sharpened if they need to be sharp. They would be ready to go at any time. They would know what every tool they have and exactly what that tool does. You too have that ability to dig into that world that they do. With the download music that we have today, it is an incredible, endless amount of songs that you can get a lot easier than you could 20 or 30 years ago, where someone 20 or 30 years ago would have to go to a store and dig for hours and end up walking out with like maybe 5 to 10 songs maximum. The modern DJ can dig through 2 or 3 subscription services in about an hour and come down with about 100 songs, and they would be usable in all kinds of different applications. The sad part is most DJs only stick to the 3 R's: radio edits, remixes, or redrums. And those are utterly the good foundation that you need in your music library. You have to have all those kinds of things to start with, but there is so much more out there. There are endless clean versions versus explicit versions. There are redrums that can take an older song and add a new beat so that it's kind of like relevant to 2 different generations all at the same time. There are quick edits for getting in and out of songs before the crowd gets bored. There are transition mixes that will take you from like a high BPM to a low BPM or otherwise, all within the same song without having to do any kind of fancy transition. There are hook first edits that basically take that hook or the chorus and put it before the first verse to kind of get people's attention so they don't get bored as they go across there. We can't forget about the simple intros and outros where it takes a basic radio song and gives it a very mixable intro or outro. There's the a cappella intro and outros for doing all kinds of fancy stuff, and let's not forget the mashup. The interesting thing about this digital age of music is that you are never limited to just the songs that you download. Besides those songs, pretty much every single DJ software out there has access to some sort of streaming music service. As long as you have access to the internet through Wi-Fi or a hotspot on your phone, you have access to an endless number of streamable songs. So now imagine having a well-curated library and access to endless amounts of streaming songs online. If that doesn't get your creative juices flowing, I'm not sure what would. And if all the digital downloads or the streaming services aren't enough, you could make your very own remixes or edits. There are several free or very cheap editing programs out there that aren't too difficult. In just a couple hours, you can take a song that you wish began or ended differently and make it the way you want. If nothing else from both the download or do-it-yourself mindset, you can fix endless songs that have those variable BPMs. Why spend time chasing it, pushing forward, nudging backward, trying to get the song in the right spot when you can just go out and get a version that someone has already fixed, or fix it yourself, and you never have to worry about that again. I know what you're saying, I don't have time to mess with this, but how many songs in your music library that you play on a regular basis that you wish were a little bit different some way or another, or fixed the variable BPM or something? It could be an intro or an outro, it could be the length of the song or whatever. If you take time to fix it just once, you never have to worry about that again. So for the next decade or 2 decades of you spinning that song, All you have to do is load the song and play it. Now, doing all these things with the editing and your music library and curating doesn't have to be this giant and overwhelming task. You can start with just a few songs at a time, and before you know it, your music library will start to look all shiny and new. A DJ's music library is the foundation of their business, and in fact, I would probably say that their music library is an extension of their creativity. If you take a little bit of time and attend to your library, you'll find it's like tuning up a car. The car may have worked great before, but after the tune-up, it is going to be running awesome. Having a well-groomed music library will help you out in so many ways. It will make you sound more professional because you'll always have the right song at the right time. It will make your mixing more efficient. No more fumbling for the songs at the last second right before a song's ending, trying to figure out what to play or how to transition it. You will always have a full list of possibilities right in front of you. And finally, in my opinion, I think this is the most important, you will have more fun. A well-tagged, sorted library will free you up to observe the crowd and interact with them, pick better songs, mix more efficiently, or just simply enjoy being in the moment. If you don't believe me, I encourage you to spend just 1 hour before one of your next gigs coming up and work on your library, whether it be new songs or new versions of songs or edits or something. Start with the songs you play the most. Make sure that they are tagged correctly, set the cue points, sort them where you want them to be, get the edits that you want, or fix the versions that have a variable BPM. Get it all nice and tidy. If you take the time to do those things and you don't see a difference, I will refund the money that you spent on this free 10-minute video. All joking aside, I promise you that a well-curated library will not only make you a better DJ, but you will have more fun at DJing. Until next time, this is DJ Michael Joseph saying take care and God bless.
All right, we are back right at the beginning of our DJNTV DJ Talks 2020. One of the things, of course, you're going to learn some things tonight. There's going to be some motivational things and such. But one thing that we've seen a lot of this year is, since we've had downtime, DJs basically either getting back into hobbies or starting hobbies. Brian, everyone knows that you've got your YouTube channel and they've seen you and learned about you from there, but there's other things that you've been doing. What kind of other projects and things have you been doing this summer to keep yourself busier than you're super busy?
Yeah, I've had a lot going on.
Yeah.
Well, it's just kind of practical life stuff. I've been helping the kids with things. Both of my daughters are homeowners in my neighborhood. So, and they both own their own duplexes. They're owner occupied, properties. So they've got tenants. So I've been doing work on those places. And for the last 2 years, I've been doing the 65 Mustang project. So that's still happening. And, other than that, I'm just trying to come up with really clever solutions around the house for storage, for just trying to make things more efficient. If there's something that's been broken and I've been staring at it for the last 10 years, I'm trying to get on it and fix it. There's quite a bit of stuff that can be done. But yeah, it's a lot of practical stuff, but it's fun and there's really no rush on a lot of it. Mm-hmm. So in that regard, I guess you could call it hobby.
And one of the things I think people would be surprised is the around the house, the repairs around the house, and getting into some construction projects that are repair projects that are probably getting a little bit higher on the pay scale. And you've dove right into those head first and really gotten some things done.
I don't care. I just do it. What's it going to do? Bleed? The house isn't going to bleed. It's not like I'm doing surgery on the dog or something, Like you just do it. It's one thing I found out a long time ago, man. If you go ahead and you tear a sink out, you're gonna have to figure out how to put a new one back in, because you can't afford to pay a guy to do it. So you better figure it out. You better figure it out before she wants to brush her teeth in the morning too, because otherwise she's not going to be happy.
There's going to be problems.
Trial by fire. It works. It works for me.
It works. So. Yeah, that it does. That it does. Hey, we're going to keep going with our show tonight. Up next, we got Jeremy Landby. Jeremy Landby's also one of our DJNTV folks who does a lot of the trade show videos. And Jeremy is also, one of his hobbies is selling used DJ gear. And he does that literally across the upper Midwest. And he's going to share some tips on being able to get your gear ready to sell.
Hi, my name is Jeremy, and I'm the owner and operator of Landby Productions, which is a production company in Minnesota. Today I'm going to be talking to you about 5 different steps in selling your used equipment. Right now, myself and a lot of you don't have a whole lot of events going on, or not as many as we maybe did last year. We've got a lot of equipment in our shop, maybe in our storage shed, that we just don't need anymore. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today about selling those pieces of equipment. My first step is, what gear do you sell? Well, I kind of look back myself and say, what pieces of equipment haven't I used in the past 6 months, maybe even the past couple of years, that's just sitting on the shelf, and I could probably get some money out of those pieces of gear. Today I've got 4 pieces of gear that I no longer use. First is a Shani special effect. Haven't used that in probably a couple of years. Next is a American DJ CC2016 light chaser. Probably haven't used that in about 6 years, maybe even longer. Next, I've got a Sennheiser Lapel wireless microphone that was used for wedding ceremonies for pastors, and I would lapel mic the pastor for ceremonies. This is my actual backup that I've used, and this has probably sat on the shelf for at least a year, maybe even a couple of years. And finally, I've got a power amplifier. I no longer use a lot of speakers that require a power amplifier because most of my speakers now are powered. So I'm going to be selling that as well. You see a lot of my speakers in back of me. I do a lot of selling online, especially right now because I'm kind of slow on my events, and this is a way for me to make a few extra dollars on paying bills and whatever for this coming fall. So, like I said, what gear do you sell? You're going to go through your inventory and kind of look at pieces that you may just not use anymore, that are just sitting there collecting dust. Those could be worth some money, and now would be a good time to sell those. Next, know the gear that you're selling. If I'm going to be selling a Sennheiser wireless microphone, first of all, I want to make sure that it's in the right frequency that I can sell right now. I know the 600 series in the United States, at least, is a frequency that can no longer be used. So I want to make sure I can sell that in the right frequency. Also, my special effect light, maybe I'll get a question like, well, is it DMXable? That's something that you need to know, or you should know before you sell that item. Maybe my power amp on how many watts it is and what can it do, and maybe how I used it. So those things are important things to know before you start selling your gear online. The third thing I want to talk to you about is pricing your gear. Also, taking good pictures of your gear when you're going to be listing it online for sale. So for instance, if I'm going to be selling a speaker, usually I just want to take a picture of just that speaker and maybe not any of the other speakers around it, because maybe I'll list a speaker for sale that's kind of a lower price speaker, and then behind it I'll have a more of a higher price speaker, a high-end speaker, and I'll say, $100 for this speaker, but maybe the person looking at the ad will say, gosh, $100, I'll take that speaker and that speaker and that speaker. And some people just don't understand that. So a good way to do it is take a picture, or the pictures that you're taking are just of the pieces of equipment that you're trying to sell. My fourth thing to talk about today is how to sell your gear and where to sell your gear and where you list it. Craigslist has always been a pretty good place for the last couple of years. Scammers have kind of gotten into Craigslist, so it hasn't been as appealing as it was maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago. Marketplace, Facebook, which pretty much everybody is on Facebook, is a really good place to sell. That's where I try to sell some of my used gear. Like I said, taking a really good picture of it and putting it up online usually gets a hit or two of a message that I'll get from somebody looking to buy that piece of gear. The fifth thing I want to talk to you about today is being open for different types of payments. For instance, this morning, I sold a couple of microphones to a gentleman. He didn't have cash. I don't like to accept a check, and cash is usually king when it comes to selling equipment. But if you're open to doing a little bit more than just cash, maybe using Venmo, which I used this morning, or if you've got a way to take a credit card, Square is one that I use myself. That's a really good way to open up different ways that you can take payments for this used equipment. Another thing I got to talk to you about, something I may have skipped over, is where to sell this gear. Online, yes, but who am I selling it to? For instance, I've got a disc jockey company and a production company, so my thoughts are along that line when I'm selling equipment. But there might be somebody with a man cave that could really use some speakers that wants to just have an awesome sound system in their man cave. That would be somebody to talk to. Another person that you'd want to relate to or get that information out to would be maybe a church. A lot of churches in our area are doing outdoor services right now. They're in need of sound systems, soundboards, wireless microphones, things like that, things that you may have sitting around your shop that you're not using, that you could get some serious money for that equipment. So just some good thoughts, but there's 5 steps to look for or to kind of think about when selling your equipment. This is Jeremy with Landby Productions. Hey, thanks so much for watching.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Boy, that was a slow segue. It's like, obviously my computer must be, no, it's not bogging down. Hey, we're back again. I was worried there when I clicked it and nothing happened. I'm thinking to myself, oh no, is it going to crash? That would be bad. So you got some tips for talking about selling gear. Jeremy, of course, does that. If you've ever spent some time with Jeremy and with that side of it, he is the guy. He can sell used gear like no one I know. He's just crazy with that. Freddie, thank you for joining us. On Facebook, there's a link somewhere up above, Freddie, that if you click on that one, that'll bring you to the YouTube video. That's where we're going to be doing the drawing and such. We're going to be doing 2 drawings tonight to give away a $100 gift certificate to an LFX Pro. That will only be available to those who are on the YouTube feed at this time when we announce the drawing. And also, of course, the last was DJ Event Planner. Troy Ackerman and DJ Event Planner are big sponsors of DJNTV, and they are helping to sponsor this event and our upcoming virtual expo that's coming up here in October. And we'll get more information to you guys on that. So, Brian, I wanted to take us a couple of seconds because I saw your video, the recent video where you talked about yacht rock a little bit. And you were mentioning off camera that some people confuse yacht rock with being a genre. It kind of explain for those who are like yacht rock, I've heard of it, but I'm not sure what it is. What is it?
The best way I can describe it, and I've thought about this, I'm trying to figure out how to articulate how to explain to someone what it is. I don't believe it is a genre. I believe it's just, to coin a phrase that a lot of the YouTube song or video reactors, you've seen those reaction videos.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
The kids listen to music from the 70s and the 80s or whatever. It's a vibe. It's kind of like when you're playing a set for dancing or something at an event, you're really thinking about how the next song goes with the song you're currently playing and how they'll work together and how it'll keep that dance floor going, opposed to clearing it because you've completely changed things. So yacht rock is a vibe. There are many, many genres that work in the yacht rock vibe. And I'm going to try to do a more advanced video on that. I think it's a really interesting exercise in music programming. Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's a lot of DJs that just don't seem to get it. So I'm going to try to help with that.
Explain the vibe, if you could, of what yacht rock feels like.
It's smooth. It's got high production values. Some people think it's soft rock, but it's not. There's a lot of soft rock that's kind of sad and sleepy. It's not sleepy music at all. It's more up-tempo music for the most part. And pretty much anything, we were talking off camera, pretty much anything Michael McDonald has ever touched qualifies as a yacht rock song. It's the same with like Steely Dan. But even having said that, thinking about Michael McDonald's catalog, you can look at his Doobie Brothers stuff, you can look at his solo stuff, you can look at songs that he sang backup on. If you take all those songs and you look at them, yacht rock is about picking the best song from that list to fit the current vibe, if that makes any sense to you. So yes, songs like If It Keeps You Running by the Doobie Brothers, technically is a Doobie Brothers song. It is sang by Michael McDonald, but it might not be the best choice for yacht rock. You might want to go with something like What a Fool Believes, or God forbid, Yamo Be There with James Ingram, which is not my favorite song. But it works in the yacht rock vibe.
It fits the vibe.
Yeah. The captain's hat kind of thing.
Looking forward to for more work on that, because we've talked about that on a lot of our Tuesday night shows of what that is, and we've had some fun with that and identifying it. It's always interesting. You're talking about a vibe in this, and some of the songs that are thrown out in the chat room. It's like, no.
Yeah. So it was like, Kenny Loggins. Yeah, a lot of Kenny Loggins songs are yacht rock, but Footloose isn't one of them.
Yeah, Danger Zone, not one of them.
That sounds more like, Tony Basil Mickey. It's got that drum beat to it. It's not smooth. It doesn't have the production value. That's more of an 80s song.
For sure.
And yacht rock only just barely just touches the 80s. Doesn't go into it too much.
Yeah, mainly the 70s.
I don't know, something I'll do a video on now that I have my replacement camera.
Excellent. Looking forward to that. Speaking of music, we're going to be next on the schedule. We've got Mike Walter, and Mike Walter is doing the behind the scenes, or the behind the music. He's got a book out on this with the music history that has one song that he looks at each day of the year, and it's a really cool book that you guys can check out. I'll put the link into the chat so you guys can see that or get that book if you're interested. But Mike's going to be talking a little bit about the Beatles' Twist and Shout.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Mike Walter here with a little behind-the-scenes music story just for you. Did you ever play Twist and Shout at your weddings? The Beatles version, Twist and Shout. You ever wonder why John Lennon's voice is so raspy and that sounds like sandpaper almost? There's a story behind that. When the Beatles were first signed in 1962 by Parlophone Records, nobody really thought they were going to be that big of a deal. In fact, their first single, Love Me Do, I think it hit like 17 on the UK pop charts. It wasn't even released in the States, which was moderately successful, but not like through the roof. And then they released Please Please Me in January of 1963. That's the song that went to #1, and that's when Parlophone was like, oh, we got something going on here? Maybe this band is going to be big. So obviously Parlophone wanted to get them into the studio right away and get 10 more tracks cut so that they could release an entire album by this new group, the Beatles. They booked them for one day, February 11th, 1963. One long day at Abbey Road Studios, which is where George Martin was the producer and started working with them. And told them, you need to bang out 10 songs in this one long session so that we can have an album with the first 2 singles and their B-sides. That would make 14 songs, and that would be their first album. As it turns out, John Lennon showed up that day with a little bit of a sore throat. So the band shows up that day. They've got their songs laid out that they want to record. They've got 3 4-hour sessions that they can record these in. And one of them, most of them were originals, but one of the songs that they wanted to record was Twist and Shout, which was originally done by the Isley Brothers. It's a song that they played in concert all the time, whenever they played clubs, whenever they entertained. Matter of fact, they often closed their set with it because it was such a highlight, so they figured they would close their first album with it. So throughout the day, Lennon's voice just keeps getting worse and worse. Some songs he sang lead on, some songs he sang backup, but he was really straining his vocal cords, and it was getting worse and worse and worse. Finally, they had 9 songs laid down, and they wanted to record this one last song, Twist and Shout, which John Lennon always took the lead on. The band, George Martin, they all turned to him. They said, you think you got it in you? Can you give us one take of Twist and Shout, even with the scratchy voice? Lennon said, no problem. He eats some lozenges.
Then, for some reason, and he never explained why, he actually stripped off his shirt, so he sang it shirtless. The band ripped into it. He sang Twist and Shout with every last vocal cord he had. That's why his version is so scratchy, and really, it sounds like sandpaper. They finished the song. He's literally like almost bleeding from his throat. George Martin likes to take, he says, do you have one more in you? Lennon says, I don't know, maybe I do. The band kicks in again. Lennon opens up his mouth. Nothing comes out. He couldn't even sing after that one version of Twist and Shout. So the version that we know and the version that you and I rock at so many of our events, it was recorded at the very end of a long day. John Lennon had a sore throat. He was hoarse. And it was one take. That song is done in one take. John Lennon said it took weeks after that for his voice to return to normal. So the next time you rock Twist and Shout, think about that. Think about a young John Lennon, not famous yet. The Beatles haven't broken worldwide yet. They're giving it their all, and Lennon sings that song on his last vocal cord.
All right, that was Mike Walter talking a little bit about Twist and Shout. I always love looking back at older music, in the shows that we went back to the 60s and 70s and the stories behind them. It's just, I absolutely love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and he was also, I believe, the stunt double in Miami Vice for Don Johnson.
yes, that's pretty much what it was. Yes,
yeah,
probably the better looking.
I thought.
So Brian, it's been a weird year. A lot of DJs, and myself included, we pretty much have been sitting at home. But recently, you've actually gotten to go out and do a couple of shows this past weekend included. Kind of give us, for those of us who haven't been out doing some weddings, how has this year been different than past years when it comes to the actual day of performance?
Event. I would say that every event that I've done has the best intentions.
Okay.
To be as responsible as reasonably possible given the current circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
But this is my observation, and I did a video on this last night and I posted it. Everybody, or shouldn't say everybody, but there are a lot of people, most people at these events have every intention of wearing a mask. In fact, I did an event last month where you had to sign a waiver before you entered the venue that A, you're going to wear a mask, B, you were going to socially distance, and C, if you caught anything, you weren't going to sue the venue for it.
Yeah.
So that's weird. That was very different.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wear a mask, though, through the duration of the event. But it's interesting because there are a few times that you don't wear a mask, just in general, and that is when you're eating or drinking something. When are you not eating or drinking something at a wedding reception?
Pretty much, yeah. You've got a cocktail in one hand and off you
go.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time, I don't know how it is where everyone else lives, but here it kicks off with cocktail. Then you go into dinner. Then you go into dessert. And then it's open bar. Mm-hmm. And people are drinking the whole time. So, although I think they have the best intentions of wearing these masks, they just aren't, because they're constantly eating or drinking. And if they go out and dance for a song or two, I think they're kind of thinking to themselves, well, I've had the mask off for 3 hours, so I need to put it on for 10 minutes to go on the dance floor. It's kind of where I see it. I think those who are not doing events see photos and videos from those who are, and the first criticism is, where are the masks? Well, that's where they are. Mm-hmm. And that's why they're not wearing them. It's not because they're necessarily being defiant or they're rebelling against it or they're denying that there's something. I believe that it really has to do with just they're eating and drinking.
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's really weird. But, having said that, for me anyway, I'm just trying to be as careful as possible. And I have noticed that the bartenders and staff are also, being very responsible with masks, and just, the way they're handling things has been fantastic so far, just from my observations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's going to be one of those things I think that everyone's going to have to do the best they can.
Right.
I think it's pretty much to say. And sometimes it's going to work better than others. And, we just have to hope for the best. So.
And if John Young jumps off a cliff, that doesn't mean you should too.
Yeah.
So
Well, actually, it does. You
Not
should.
John specifically, but anybody.
Yeah.
You know, well, everyone else is doing it. Well, I don't care. You do the right thing. So that's kind of been my philosophy going out there and working, just trying to be as responsible and respectful as possible to everyone.
Let me pop that down. Excellent. We're going to continue on here, gang. We've got Shani Barnett up next, and Shani's going to be kind of keeping it real and giving you some motivation during these difficult times that we've been having here so far in 2020.
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing out there? I am Shani Barnett out of Chicago, and for those that have seen some of the videos I do with John, we're either talking music or I'm trying to motivate you guys, and right now it's all about motivation. So I have some notes that I took, so if you see me looking down, it's because I want to make sure I drop the right knowledge to you guys. Right now with this pandemic, we are dealing with the unknown. And you know what? We realize we have no choice. We need to move forward in our lives, and we need to figure things out. And the way to survive right now is to change with the times. Now, if you're like me, you hate change. I mean, Facebook changes and I hate it. Just the little things I hate that change. My credit card company sends me a new credit card, and now I got to memorize the last 4 numbers of that. And it's change. I hate change. But we realize that we need to change to survive. So we all need to take a deep breath. And we need to know how to handle the situations that are in. I'm going to talk about 3 things with you guys right now. We're going to get the bad one out of the way. We're going to talk about negativity. We're going to talk about happiness. And we're going to talk about patience. So the first thing is negativity. We never want to hear that word. We don't want to be around it. So how do we get it out of our lives? First away, we need to get away from the negativity. And the worst thing that a human can do to another human is bring negativity to them. We hate it. Life is too big and time is too short. So we can't get caught up in that empty drama that comes with that negativity. Whatever brings you down, get rid of it. When I say whatever, I also mean whoever brings you down. Get rid of that. Get rid of that person. You don't need negative stuff in your life. Cut them out. If they don't make you feel good, why do you need them there? Negativity brings so much drama and dead weight, and we just need to get rid of it. So you know what you need to do? You need to bring people around you who make you feel good. And when I say they make you feel good, I mean they make you feel safe. Think about that for a second. I want you to bring people around you who make you feel good. And by good, I mean safe. What does that mean? Safe means these are the type of people who respect you. Not only do they respect you when they're talking to you and they're in front of you or having a conversation. I mean, a lot of us aren't face to face right now. But when you're not around, they respect you. Those are the type of people that will always make you feel safe, and you know they have your back. Who's in your circle? Think about it. If these people are always negative and always saying bad stuff, think about if they're saying bad stuff about you and you're not around. Change your circle. It's okay. Change it. Bring some people in that make you feel safe. That's how you separate yourself from everybody else. Because you do that, you're going to elevate yourself. Yes or yes? I hope you said yes to that. All right, the second thing I want to talk about with you guys is happiness. Who doesn't want to be happy? I know I want to be happy right now. Not so happy, okay? So the way to be happy, first of all, be your number one fan. Who's going to be there for you? You're always going to be there for you. Be your number one fan. How do you be your number one fan? First of all, I know a lot of people laugh about this. I don't do it, but I might start doing it. I know when people post like on Facebook or on Instagram or any type of social media, you always kind of chuckle at the person who always likes their own post. Or maybe they're the first one to like their own post, so when you see it, there's only one person that liked it, and it's themselves. Who cares? They're their number one fan. I am all for that. Support yourself. Be your number one fan. Don't compare yourself to anyone else, okay? You don't know what their whole story is. You don't know what's happened or what they went through or how they got something or how they didn't get something. Don't worry about those people. Worry about yourself and love yourself. Hit that like button, hit that love button on your own post. It's okay. But to be happy, you have to be your number one fan and you have to love yourself. Stop trying to impress anyone else. Why are you trying to impress them? Especially, why are you trying to impress the people you don't even like? Think about that. We know there's people out there that are always out to impress others, and they're impressing others that they don't even like to be around. What's the outcome? Why are you doing that? What's the end game? Don't worry about them. Do something that makes you happy. Be your number one fan when you do that. Happiness should be your ambition. Happiness is how you win. If you're happy and people see you happy, they're going to be like, wow, that person's happy. They're winning. Win, all right? We need happiness. Get out the negativity and let's get happy, all right? The next thing I want to talk about is patience. This is the big thing for everybody. Patience is what's going to get you through everything. Now, not to knock the younger generation, and it's nothing against them, it's how they grew up and the things that are happening nowadays, but the younger generation wants everything now. They want it right now. It's got to happen right now. Why isn't this happening right now? I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Happen now, 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 now. And guess what? You have to put in the work. Okay, people? Put in that work. And how do you put in that work? You got to have patience. You got to have patience to put in that work. You know, if you want to be great at something, you got to put in the work, but it's going to take time. I mean, think about some of the greats in sports, okay? Michael Jordan is my GOAT. I know he's not some of the other people's GOAT, but Michael Jordan had to put in the work. He was terrible in high school. He got cut in high school. He put in that work. If anybody watched The Last Dance or even know his history or anything, he was always putting in the work. He was always practicing. He was always working out. He was always doing the extra things he needs to do. But it's patience. You got to put in that work. You got to do what you're supposed to be doing. Do you have the patience? If you don't, you got to practice it. Okay? You got to do whatever it takes to get where you want to go. There's no excuses. It's not going to be easy. It's not. But once you get to the top, trust me, you're going to be happier than you were before, and you could high five your number one fan, which is yourself. So you could give yourself a high five. Okay, but it's not going to happen overnight, people. It's not. Things that happen overnight to others, I don't know about that. That's a little suspect for me, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about patience and what you can do. So let me also tell you, like I brought up Michael Jordan, I'm also going to bring up Prince to you guys. I don't know if you guys know about Prince. Well, a lot of you know about Prince, but I don't know if you know the backstory of how he started. Prince didn't have any money. Prince knew he wanted to make music. Prince knew he wanted to cut an album. Well, a lot of us know that takes a lot of money. What did Prince do? He got a job as a janitor at the studio where he wanted to cut the album. So what did he do? He worked as a janitor so he could get studio time to make the music and make the album. He put in the time. He was patient. He did what he had to do. Do you think he wanted to be a janitor? No, he didn't want to be a janitor. But he didn't care what other people think. He did what made him happy, and that was music, and he did whatever it took to get to where he wanted to be. Okay? So put in the work, people, all right? But you got to be patient about it, and you will have positive results with that. You got to trust the process. Do you understand that? I hope you guys understand that. So those are my 3 things for you guys, and I'm going to end with this, okay? You either can do it now or you can stop the video and do it later. It's totally up to you. But I want you guys to pick up your phone. If your phone's by you, you can even do this now while I'm talking. So pick up your phone, and I want you to scroll through your contacts in your address book. Scroll through it, start it from the beginning or start it from the end, however is easiest for you to scroll up and scroll down. And I want you to stop on every name that makes you feel safe. Remember what I told you about people that make you feel safe? Hopefully you have a lot in your contact list. And every person in your contact list that makes you feel safe, I want you to text them. You could say whatever you want to say, or you could just say, hey man, I miss you. I'm just checking in. let's connect soon, and set up a time that you either text or you FaceTime, or you actually call somebody and set up the time and just talk to that person, because those are the people that make you happy. Those are the people that make you safe. Those are the people you want to be around. All right? So do that, please, in the next couple days. Send me a message, on my Instagram, my Facebook, my Snapchat, however you guys know to contact me, because I want to know if you did this and if it worked for you. And hopefully during all this craziness, she'll make some changes and you guys will start feeling happy, and you'll be your #1 fan, and you'll get that negativity out, and you'll have some patience. All right, I will talk to you guys soon. This is Shani Barnett. I'll see you guys next time.
All right, that was Shani Barnett there, kind of giving you some tips to be, she said it, be happy. But I mean, I think that's one of the things that we've seen in 2020. It's like people just have a hard time enjoying or showing joy of any sort. And I get that, but life is too short to be so grumpy and all the time. So yeah, when she talks about that, the one thing, Brian, I think she mentioned towards the end, where talking to people who make you happy, and it kind of extending that, the idea of communicating with others in our industry and hanging out like you guys are doing in the chill room. For those who haven't been there, give us a little kind of a synopsis of what's been kind of going on in the chill room.
It's been interesting. We've had this group that just gets together, and there are special guest stars that show up once in a while, but for the most part, it's a pretty core group that comes in. We know about what time everybody's coming in, and we've got people from all over the world who join us. We have seasoned DJs, we have relatively new DJs, we have relatively young people, relatively old farts. It's fun, and we talk about all kinds of things. And we know what's going on with each other and their families and our kids and brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers, because we care, and it's just a place to kind of go and unplug and unwind and, maybe share some ideas. It's a real interesting social experiment that I'm actually pretty proud of.
Yeah, that was a great idea.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, when you came up with that concept, and starting back in February at the convention, and really we just kind of, once things went, extended that concept, and there we are. It's a nice nightly spot. If you want to go check it out and you haven't been there, go to djntv.com/chill. That's a quick link to get you there, and then it takes you to a Zoom meeting. There's people who are meeting in there at pretty much all hours of the day, but most of the time it's in those later evening hours where people hang out.
Usually about 9 and after. There are some folks that come in early, and they'll be there until it's their bedtime. They maybe have a day job they have to go to, so you can always count on Scott Carroll. He's going to be there first, and he's probably going to leave by about 10-11 o'clock his time, because he's got to get up and go to work.
Yep.
But then Alex, who we'll see a little later on tonight, Alex the Bubble in Cyprus, he's not going to come in until about 3 a.m. Because that's his time.
He's getting
so everybody's got their time, and then it's really interesting to see. You can kind of look at the clock and say, it's about time for them to come in, and sure enough, here they are. They pop in.
That they do. Gang, we're going to get to our contest, our first contest tonight. We're going to be doing the drawing right now. You need to be in the YouTube chat right now. So if you are on Facebook, I just put the link. Click that. Go to the YouTube chat. Brian, I need a word that they need to type into the chat. What would that word be?
This is an NLFX contest.
Correct.
Ben Stowe is a Star Wars fan.
Yes.
Let's go with Yoda.
Yoda. Okay. Put Yoda into the chat room. You've got 2 minutes from right now to do that. So right there. Okay. Yoda, only do it once in the chat, because once you put it in, that is your entry. And I'm going to jot them down as we go here. Because all of a sudden it just goes ding, 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 ding. It was like,
YODA Yoda.
yeah, YODA. That will be much easier than last night when Bill put.
I see one. I see a bunch of Yodas coming in now.
Yeah, there
Here
we
they
go.
come.
And I've got to stop. It went scrolling right up.
Oh, it's going crazy.
Go ahead. I've got to type these down as you can see it.
Baby Yoda. You're disqualified, Jimmy. Remember, one time only. Do not enter more than one.
Yes, please. That way we don't get we don't get things mixed up here.
Okay. You feel pretty confident about moving on?
You go ahead. You talk. I'm typing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're okay. They've gone as soon as I touch the screen. It goes. Wrist, so I got to get back to. Let's see. Where are we? Oh my. Okay, there we go.
There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, I'll get them.
They all spelled it right for the most part. I see Toyotas. I see a lot of things. Stop typing. Just stop for a minute.
Yes.
That means you too, Jimmy. Knock it off. See, I don't normally monitor this stuff, but I'm doing it tonight. So
yeah, you get to watch. Thank you guys for being with us. By the way, we got a great crowd.
Yeah, got a really nice crowd. Got 54,000 people watching me. In
yeah, we got
Milwaukee. There are more people than that watching globally. So John is working out some magic here, and then I'm
typing them down.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yep, I'm typing them in, and we're numbering everybody, so that way we have the contest is going to be as fair as possible.
You're locked in on your numbers here. Yes, I see what you're doing. Now, Jimmy, knock it off. Stop it.
Don't mess it up, Jimmy. You make things difficult.
Jimmy always makes things difficult.
He does.
It's what he does. Oh, by the way, Jimmy, for that Yacht Rock video I want to do, if you want to make me a thumbnail with me with a captain's hat on, that would be really cool. I think that would be neat. Now use it. If you have a minute to put a Thurston Howell III captain's hat on me. On some picture that you find.
That would be pretty good.
Yeah. I think that would be funny. Okay. And Jimmy will do something outrageous with it.
I'm getting there. There we go. There's more signing up here today.
Look at all these Yodas. Somebody's going to get $100. Somebody's going to get $100 gift certificate. Wow, if I had a $100 gift certificate, what would I buy right now? I know. Evolve 30M bags. That's what I would buy.
Yeah.
Because I need those.
Yep, they are nice. They now actually have the ones that fit.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, early on they just didn't discombobulated. That was the word from last night.
But I have absolutely nothing, so yeah, and I'm using them, being very careful with them. But yeah, I was anti
in the last
bagging speakers for a long time, just because it felt like something else I had to keep track of, and my particular situation, the less I had to keep track of, the better. I was just going to scar the speakers up and say the hell with it, replace them the next year. But now that I'm using bags, I'm all about bags.
Okay, we have 34 entries.
34.
Wait a second, I've got to check and see one of the.
He's double checking, and depending on which time you typed in Yoda, like the first person who typed Yoda, year 1, second person 2,
yes, yep.
Third 3, so on and so forth. That's how John has written this down.
Yes, and that's why we want to make sure we are only doing one one. That way it doesn't get all messed up. And now we're going to switch over. So we're going to be off screen, Brian, but now the number generator is up, and I've got to go and set that to, it's 1 through 34. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Brian, he's going to pick a number between 1 and 5. And for each number that he's given me, we're going to click that generator. Actually, Brian, let's go between 3 and 10. Because we need to have a
that
few
way I'm not a smart ass and say 1.
Yeah, because then it would be the first. And that's the number of times we're going to click and regenerate the number. And that way, it's a completely random as we can possibly random. So
Yep, I like
1 through 34. Brian, what is our number we're going to click here?
Lucky number 7.
7. So the first time is number 17. There's 2. There's 3. There's 4. There's 5. There's 6. Now, so this person, David actually won last night, and David is basically like the second place. So he is like, could have had, but he didn't. So this is our winner of this round, is number 7, which is Steve MCC. Steve out there, congratulations. You are the winner of a $100 gift certificate to NLFX Pro. Steve, you need to reach out to me. They're on Facebook. Message me if we're connected on Facebook. Otherwise, email john@discjockeynews.com. I need your email and information so that I can get that to NLFX, and then they will get you set up with that. That certificate. So thank you for being with us, and congratulations on that.
Well done.
Excellent. That worked out well.
Fair.
Well. Okay, let's see. Let's jump right into our next session, and we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit. Alex will be after. Brian Kelm's up next. Brian, actually, this is a presentation he's been doing for different groups. He's got an hour presentation, and he basically took some of the tips from that presentation and put those together for us for this particular session. I don't have a full title, so when we get back, we'll talk more about it.
Not me, by the way, different Brian.
Yeah, This is Brian Kelm. Excuse me, Brian Kelm. Coming from the Wisconsin area also, but yeah, Brian Kelm's up next.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Kelm for the DJNTV Talks. Thank you so much for tuning in. The topic I want to share with you guys is titled, Whose Side of the Fence Are You On? I'm going to take a 1-hour conversation and presentation that I gave it last night to a virtual group of wedding planners, and I'm going to cut it down into 5 different things, 5 different key points to consider and apply to your business and get value out of it. So the first one is take ownership of every experience. And what that means is it's outside of your normal duties. If you need to stack chairs, if you need to mop the floor, if you need to make an extra few phone calls throughout the planning process, whatever that is, to take ownership of the experience, that everything happens in the way it should towards the outcome. When you're at a wedding, for instance, you're working as a team, regardless if you want to or if you like the people that you're working with, meaning the other professionals. But all that matters is the outcome that the bride and groom are creating with you, or they desired to have when you came into the picture and they reserved you. So no matter what it is, take ownership of every experience that you're part of. There is no need to have drama. There is no need to, these tiffs and all of this kind of stuff, is because the outcome is all that matters in a bride and groom's eyes. Part number 2 are some questions to ponder. How do your customers perceive your commitment? That obviously is not going to become known until you start working with them for a while. But how do they perceive that you're serving them and your commitment to them? You're there to provide and give value. You're there to facilitate no matter what it is. You're there to talk them down off a ledge if they're stressed out, if they're suffering from anxiety, whatever it might be. This is above and beyond just providing entertainment, for instance, at their wedding. This goes above and beyond that. You're there to help them. You're there to relate to them. You're there to get to know them. Obviously, if you choose to have something that's very personal, a part of your business. Question number 2 is, how do your customers perceive your love? Yes, I did say love. Being a word-of-mouth and referral-based business, hopefully you're creating that space where you wanna work so hard for customers that they love you. They can't go down the street without telling somebody how great you did, how great of a job you did for them, and they're going to tell everybody about you. And the beautiful part is that might even happen before they get married. It's such a beautiful place to be in, but it's got to be authentic, it's got to be real, and it's got to be honest. It cannot be faked. And that's the beautiful part. When they feel it, that's all that matters. And then the third question to consider is, how do your customers perceive your care? How do they perceive how much you care for them? And that's another thing that is developed throughout the planning process. But I cannot speak enough about how much you care for your customers is going to show up by everything you do. How you help them. All the emails, the phone calls, the shout outs on Facebook. All the different interactions that you have with them is going to mean so much to them as the days go by leading up to their wedding. Part number 3 is the fence. On the graphic, there's a fence, and then there's a dark side, and then there's a sunny side. The fence is any barrier that gets in the way from you and a customer. Now, at best, when we're on our side of the fence trying to relate to a bride and groom, we're trying to reach over and relate to their world. That reaching over is assuming at best. We don't know what's going on in their world unless they tell it to us or unless we find out. When we're on the customer side of the fence, they have a whole bunch of stuff going on, but if we commit to being on their side of the fence, we're going to be made aware in the course of time, after they like us and trust us and they feel that it's authentic and real, that there's not anything that they won't do. There's not any information that they won't give us. And it's such a coveted place to be. Let me give you a couple examples. Is a trade show booth. Experts say that never have a table in front of a trade show booth. Why? The reason why is because it deters connection. It deters relatedness. The fence is no different. Any deterrent that gets in the way of you being right there with your customer, socializing, vulnerable and transparent, is something that needs to be removed from the space. Because if you find out later on that was the cause of it, you would go back and remove it immediately. Let's also look at social media and how we communicate these days. A lot of people may argue with this, and that's okay, but video, looking in the video camera, sending a personal message, engaging with people so they can feel your passion, your excitement level, your personality is always going to be the best way. It's direct. It's straightforward, and there's no ambiguity in terms of what you're talking about. Where the fence can come into play is if you have an opportunity to send a video or a video email where all they do is have to press play on the top of the video, no buffering or takes them anywhere. Always go for the most direct route that you can communicate with somebody, with a bride and groom, with their parents, whatever it might be. Now, can you send a text? Yes, but will it be as effective as a video? And it doesn't make any difference how short the video is, but obviously the lesser mediums is where your message might come across in such a way that you don't want it to, or that you didn't intend. With video, in the more direct ways, it's your message is your message, and they're going to perceive it in a much more direct way than if you text or email where they're just reading words on a page. Item number 4 is the customer's best interests are all that matters. This is all that matters. Now, this is probably the most neutral space to be in, because we're not bringing our personal interest involved in this. We're acting as professionals. We're looking at it rationally, common sense. When we combine our professionalism and our expertise, along with the bride and groom and their story, and then with the outcome that we're looking to create in that given moment, that's what their best interest is. If we ever hear ourselves saying that here's what I would do, that might imply that it's what we would do personally, but we need to keep our personal views out of it because it's their event, it's not ours. We're there to guide and direct them. We're not there to choose for them. But the best part in all of that is that we're able to give them possible outcomes that may happen based on the choices that we give them, and then they're free to choose. So their best interests are always going to be most important, but it's also it could be a slippery slope if it's not shared in a very humble, straightforward, and common sense manner. The 5th item is in every moment. So let's go back to the visual, the title slide. In every moment, you're on your side of the fence or you're on their side of the fence. There is it's a day by day phenomenon. It's something that you do in every moment. And I cannot stress enough for the work that you put in to get over on the customer side of the fence. It will pay off a lot. Your connection with them is going to be deeper. You're going to be able to perform better. And you're going to know them in such a way that that'll create memories just in itself. That when you talk to them after their wedding, you're friends. And hopefully you want to create close friendships, close relationships, where you can reminisce down the road about the experience that they had, all that came out of it, but the difference you made in their life. But that's got to be a choice. So just remember, is that we all have stuff going on. Kids, marriage, projects, everything like that. But we're either in our own little world trying to connect to theirs, or we're on their side of the fence connecting to their world. And obviously that shows up really quickly when the closer it gets to their wedding. They're stressed out. They're nervous. They've never done this before. And the closer that we can relate to their world and being on their side of the fence, taking it all in, we're prepared for this. We observe a lot. We discover a lot. We can be in the most coveted place that we can be. But it comes from, we earn that. Being on the customer side of the fence is coveted, it's priceless, and there's not a greater place to be. So thank you so much, everyone. This is Brian Kelm on behalf of DJNTV Talks. Enjoy the rest of the sessions. Thank you.
So that was Brian Kelm. If you guys haven't had a chance to meet Brian Kelm, Brian is also one of the writers, and I got to shut off so I don't have this feedback going on. Brian's one of the writers with the Disc Jockey News, and he is in each month's paper and kind of gives you the more that motivational, kind of that kick in the butt type of a jolt each and every month. So just once again, thanks for Brian for being with us with the show tonight. Then after Brian, there was a little commercial there giving you the months for the next DJNTV DJ Talks. We're going to be doing one in January. We're going to be doing one in, I think we have April, and then we'll be coming back next fall with one in the fall. So there's going to be more of these coming on. So if you couldn't get in on this one and you'd like to present in a future one, just reach out to me and we'll be getting the word out as we get closer. But the next one will be January, I think it's 11th and 12th. Of 2021 when we do the next DJ Talks. So
and there's free stuff possibly in it for you too,
there will be free stuff in it, yes, because right now again I think there's 20 presenters or something, 21 presenters, whatever, we're in that ballpark, and there's two of the 21 people are going to walk away with $500 certificates. So that's not a bad, 1 in 10 basically is getting
right.
something. So, and it's a pretty cool something. So it's pretty cool. So Alex Georgiou, excuse me. I've got
Alex the Bubble.
Alex the Bubble, who's with us in the chat room. So thanks for being with us, Alex. Brian, tell us a little bit about Alex. You've spent a little time and have known of him for a while.
I've gotten to know Alex.
Yeah,
I've gotten to know Alex in the chill room, and Alex has been on my social media feeds for many years, and I always see Alex the Bubble, and I'm like, what does that mean? Does he live in a bubble? Come to find out, it totally makes sense. I'll make this I'll give you the Reader's Digest version. Alex is from London, specifically the East End of London. His mother is British and his father was Greek. There's a language almost that they speak. There's a thing they do in the East End of London, specifically in the East End of London, called Cockney. And there's slang words for everything you can think of. I mean, if you've ever seen Austin Powers when Michael Caine and Mike Myers were speaking English, they were speaking Cockney. Okay. In Cockney, bubble and squeak is Greek because Greek and squeak rhyme. I'm not sure where bubble and squeak came from, but bubble and squeak. However, the Cockneys will eliminate the rhyming word and just use the other word. So the bubble would be the Greek and Cockney.
It just makes absolutely no sense to me.
Hey man, it's an East London thing. You wouldn't understand.
Probably not so much. So, Alex is going to be taking us actually out to a very scenic location because he does a lot of destination events, and he's going to kind of share some of the gear he uses at his destination events.
Oh, by the way, just to, I don't know, not create confusion here. He now lives in Cyprus.
Okay.
So you're going to be seeing a beautiful beach in Cyprus somewhere.
Excellent. Excellent. Which is almost as nice as Milwaukee, but not quite.
Not quite.
Here's Alex, everyone.
Hi, and welcome to my video for the DJNTV DJ Talks. I'm Alex, and you guessed it, I'm a DJ. I live here in Cyprus, which I have done for the last 10 years, and I specialise in destination weddings from the United Kingdom, of which I normally do around 100 to 120 bookings per season. In fact, this particular venue is one of my regular wedding venues that I work at. And as you can see, there's probably worse places you could be. Anyway, during this 10-minute video, I'll be going through my small compact setup, showing you how you can create a quick and easy system for up and around 150 people. I will go through what equipment I'll be using and what simple tricks I use to make a clean, quick setup and teardown system. Some of which you may know and others you may not. Another thing to remember is you don't want to be at the venue any longer than you need to be after the gig. The venue staff don't want to be watching and waiting for you to load your vehicle. So without any further ado, let's have a look at the kit I'll be using for today's system. Now, as you can see here on the table, I have various items from sound to lighting and the cables that join it all together. And that's what we'll start with, the cables. Now, a couple of things when it comes to cable management that can really help you save time is cable ties. For example, on these two cables here, I have a bungee cable tie. Now, the cable itself is actually permanently on the cable, so when you take the cable tie off, you don't have to remember where you put them or anything like that. And then once the cable is bound up, you simply turn it round and it hooks onto itself as well. So that is a great idea. It saves time. It means that your cables don't get all jingle-jangled up and tangled up in your bag, and you're not going to spend maybe 10 or 15 minutes at the beginning of your setup detangling everything. Now, as these are power speakers, and we'll get onto them in a minute, another thing that I've done is with my power and audio signal cable for the speakers is I've actually bound them together. Now, this is perfectly right as long as both your power and your signal cable are well insulated and they are high quality speakers. But obviously by doing this, you're actually laying out one cable to the speaker and from the mixer, so you're only having to do it once, which means again that's a few minutes either side that you're saving. And a few minutes here and a few minutes there, that's what counts. That's what's going to give you a nice, quick and easy setup. Now this brings me on to the audio part of my setup. These are the Opera 910 DXs from DB Technologies. They are a 10-inch powered speaker which put out an output of 129 SPL, and they only weigh 12 kilos or around 26 pounds, which is great when lifting onto speaker stands, as there's less chance of you putting out your back. At 129 SPL, they pack a decent punch, and this is the important number to remember when looking for speakers, rather than the number of watts. If you feel the need, you could also put a 12-inch subwoofer underneath the table for sound reinforcement without creating a bigger footprint. Remember, you only need to put sound on the dance floor, not the whole venue. I use two mics in my system. I have this one here which is wired, and that will be plugged into the controller. This will be my personal mic. And then I also have this one here which is wireless, as you can see, and this is going to be used for toast speeches. Both of them are made by Shure, and both of them are from the PG58 series of microphones. The controller I use is the SX2 from Pioneer. I chose this controller for its weight. As a mobile DJ, you don't want to have a heavy unit. It has XLR outputs which go straight to the speakers, which is great because you don't need to have a mixer for that, it's direct sound. And of course 2 mic inputs and reasonable size jog wheels as well. So it's nice and you've got very good dexterity and hands-on feel. Next we have the lighting fixtures, which are from American DJ. Today we'll be using 2 of the quad-phase HP 32 watt moonflowers, and these will be mounted onto the speaker stands with O-clamps. This means that you don't have to have the need of a lighting tree. Again, you footprint of your setup to a minimum. And to go with the HPs, we will also have the Pocket Pros. These are 25 watt moving head with gobos built in, and you can change the gobos if you wish. You can change them in and out. Even though these are small lighting fixtures, they do put out a lot of light for just a 25 and 35 watt system. Of course, I'll be pairing them up and running Master to both the Pocket Pros and Master Slave to both of the HPs. You can run DMX if you wish, but that's for another video. And finally, let's talk about table and laptop stand. Even these are important for saving time. As you see, this is a 4x2 foot table, which will be just the right size for the controller, the two moving heads either side, the rescue mic, and the laptop stand. Now, the laptop stand is made by Hercules, and it's very simple to set up. You simply undo either side. You can then open it up. You can adjust the height. There you go, you've got three settings there, boom, boom, boom. And then once you've got the height right, you tighten up each side, and there you have it. Super tight, super strong. You can put a controller on there, you can put whatever you want on there, it ain't going anywhere. So that is a nice, easy setup stand. It's not like some other stands, I won't mention any brands, but obviously some other stands, you're sitting there with screws and it's multi this and this. For a mobile setup, that is brilliant. Easy peasy, you've seen how quickly it's put together. Now, a small table is easy to carry, and this also means less room for people to put their drinks on the table. The last thing you want is liquid and DJ equipment mixing together. The only thing that should be mixing at a gig is the music. Also, if you have your own table, you can start to set up as soon as you wish and you enter the venue, rather than sometimes having to wait for the staff to simply give you a table because they thought you didn't really need one for some reason. So that's what's going to go into the system. Let's see what it looks like when it's all set up. Let's cue the time-lapse video. So now that it's all set up, I'll quickly point to things and state the obvious. Here we have the HP32s mounted on the stands with the O-clamps, as I mentioned before. With that, we have the moving head on the table, so no need for a lighting stand, increasing your footprint. We have the wide mic. That's for myself, my own personal use there for announcements, etc. And then hiding behind the moving head here, we have the bass and the bass for the wireless mic and the wireless mic itself. Now, one other thing I will mention is I have, just in case, to be on the safe side, made these little signs here that simply say no drinks on the DJ table. We also have one of these, and what this is one of two halves of the extension that you get on a DJ mixer. So if you wanted to have a DJ mixer that's a 19-inch rack mountable, you get these to put either side, you'll be able to mount that in. Now, what I've done with this is covered it in felt, and then this actually just fits very nicely between the SX2 controller and its flight case. It fits in there, nice and snug, nice and firm as well, and I use this as a mouse table, and that just means that I'm bending and straining my back in any way. That's the last thing you want to do when you're doing a 4, 5, 6 hour gig, is to start straining it and you really feel it in the morning. Now one other thing that I do is I always carry a little brush. Now this particular brush I've trimmed off the edges to make it more pointy, and I use that every time I do a gig just to brush off any dust from either my laptop or the controller as well. Most of my gigs are like here, for example, which are outside. So you can imagine, obviously, by being outside all the time, your equipment may get a little bit more dustier than being inside. So that pretty much wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed this video, found it useful. And don't forget as well, DJNTV do host a DJ chill room, which is on Zoom. It happens every evening or every morning, depending on where you are in the world. And we have DJs from all over the world. It's just basically a little Zoom chat room that you can come in, you can chat to other DJs, anything you want, not necessarily kit. So again, thank you very much, John, for that. If you want to find details, you can find details of how to get into the chill room via John's DJNTV. And just basically say one last thing, in the words of Jonathan and Brian, practice and enjoy. Thank you.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Hi everyone, Karie Lynn here from Dynamite Reflections Entertainment in Brainerd, Minnesota. And I'm just here today to talk a little bit about professionalism and how you can really amplify your business if it's something that you want to make a business as a DJ. And some of you will go, this is all stuff that I know. A lot of it is common sense for a lot of people, but not everyone. So I just wanted to touch on some of that information. I have been in business next year 20 years, which is shocking to me. And in that time, I have learned so much about myself and about DJing and what kind of a DJ I am and what kind of a DJ I want to be. And I'm okay with who I am. I know a lot of other DJs out there would say, well, you're not even a real DJ. And that's fine. You can judge. It's fine. But honestly, there has to be all kinds of DJs. So, that brings me to my first point is being kind to each other, because we all have to be here. There's plenty of work for everyone. And you never know when you're going to need another DJ to pick up a gig, or you might run into them. There's no reason to be mean or rude to each other. There's so much work out there. And I live in a very small area. I think there's 13,000 people in our little town of Brainerd here. And there's plenty of work for everybody here. In fact, I can't get enough DJs on my team to be able to go out and do gigs, because we're just that busy, which is a good problem. So just be nice to each other. There's no reason not to be there. Like I said, watch your Facebook page when you're posting things on Facebook. If you want to stay professional, do things, post things that are professional. Don't put cuss words down. Don't post a bunch about your opinions. I actually have 2 different Facebook pages. One that I don't really care to keep in contact with everybody, but the majority of my brides and grooms, we're able to share things from their weddings on there. And if I have a video come up or a picture come up, it kind of benefits me too, because they're tagging, oh, we love that picture from our wedding, and, or something like that. What a great day. And it reminds their bridesmaids and groomsmen of who we are too. And that's really how we built this business. Honestly, I didn't do much marketing ever. I've really not done any marketing. I think I've done 2 wedding fairs. One in the beginning when I first started this business, I did a wedding fair, and then I did one not very long ago, actually, that was just kind of it was a community, smaller wedding fair event, and I felt like that was the right thing to do. So keeping your Facebook page clean, as professional as you can, is really important, and being kind to one another is really important. Just being kind to the guests and the brides and grooms as well is really important. And when you're being kind to one another too, be aware that even in these groups that you might have an idea that you think is better than someone else's, or you think someone's DJ setup doesn't look nice. There's no reason to really cut each other down. It doesn't do anything but bring negativity into the group, and there's no reason for that. So if you can be nice, just be nice. Don't think that because somebody posts something on a Facebook DJ group that they're looking to be brought down or demeaned or anything like that. Just be nice to them. There's no reason why we can't all just be nice. If you don't have something nice to say, just don't respond. It's not like it's that hard for you to just scroll to the next. So that would be a key there. Keeping it clean, keeping your Facebook clean is really important. As far as being organized, because that's key to being a professional in this business or any business, you know, especially with COVID right now, we have so many events being rescheduled and postponed and canceled. Remembering, knowing what you have going on, and I know I have fears of this too, especially right now. Am I going to miss a wedding? Am I going to, you know, mess up and miss something because of all these changes that have happened? Keeping that all really as organized as you can. And we're human beings. We're all going to screw up, just like our equipment's going to screw up, you know, and that's why you have backups of your equipment. But really staying organized. And a little bit of how I do that is I will actually, sorry, just got a message. I will actually do a Google Drive folder, and in that folder, I organize my weddings. And then the bride and groom have a link to that folder. And if anybody wants one of these, it's like $40, and it's a lifetime access of unlimited Google Drive. And I can get you that if you want. Just let me know. But either way, it's easy to do. So this is how I do it, just so you all know. This works really, really well. So I get the Google Drive and I put the date and the last name of the bride and groom. And then in that folder, I have their contract, which I use Adobe Sign, especially with COVID right now. We use Adobe Sign, or I scan it in and put it in that folder. And they can go right in, they can fill out that paperwork, that contract, they can sign it, date it, everything. I sign it and date it, and it goes right into their folder. So they have a copy, I have a copy of it. I'm sure they have another copy of it too, because they can take that out of there if they choose to. So make sure you have a second copy of it on your desktop or on your external hard drive for you. So I will use that for their contract. I will put in their music requests. I will put in their anything that pertains to them, any music options that they have. And when they get their music requests and everything back into me, which I do a deposit right away to hold the date, and then I do 1 month before, they have to have in all their paperwork as well as their money, their final amount due, because then you know it's all taken care of. And they get so busy in that last month that they forget about the music a lot of the time. So making sure that you have the ability to be able to have all that information in there. And then what I do is I put in there the ceremony I put a ceremony folder in there under it. So then I'll have their name in there. I have the music for the day. So it'll have the date again in there. Inside that folder will be another folder with a date and their last name again. And that has ceremony, social hour, dinner, dance. And inside those folders, I have everything broken down. I have number 1, seating of the parents and grandparents, and that's their song. And then number 2, and so on and so forth. And then I put that in there, and 3 weeks before, they have that link, and they can listen to their songs to verify that it's the correct version of their song, especially with all the different versions right now. So making sure that you're organized and making sure that you have everything kind of ready to go for them so that they can see and listen and make their choices, any special requests that they might have. And honestly, that was another thing, going back to that piece, the kind piece. Sometimes I'll go to a wedding, and if they have requested uplighting, let's say, and it's in my trailer, and they didn't have the money to do it, or something came up where they didn't end up doing it, I might throw that in for them. It's just sitting out there. It takes me an extra 10 minutes to throw that in. Adding that kind of extra stuff, not always getting extra fees out of it, just being kind, especially if it rains outside and they're supposed to have their ceremony outside and then they end up having to do it inside and they're all disappointed. I'll definitely try to make their evening a little bit more special. Showing up early, and when they see that you have all those things organized in the Google Drive, typically they feel pretty comfortable knowing that you're ready to go, you're organized, you're going to make sure that their day is as perfect as possible, and they're going to feel comfortable with you. But we always show up at our weddings, about 3 hours early, 2.5, 3 hours early, and make sure that we have everything ready to go in case we forget anything at the office or something. And then we can run back and we can grab whatever it is that we may have forgotten. So making sure you get there, have your music started at the ceremony site a half an hour before, so you can help kindly asking guests to find their seat. Maybe you learn how to coordinate these weddings so that you can help them walk down the aisle. We have a lot of outdoor weddings where there aren't wedding coordinators, at homes, on the beach, on the, on the lake. And we will actually coordinate that for them so that they know that it's being taken care of. Always making sure that your setup looks decent. And I'm not saying that you have to have some of these amazing setups that are just awesome. If you could do that, great, but it's okay if other people don't do that. We don't do that. We don't have the best, most huge, unbelievably awesome setup. And I mean, that'd be great if we could, but we don't. And that's okay too. We still get hired. We still do a good job for them. We make their nights incredible and memorable. And that's really all that you need to do in order to build your business. Using appropriate language is another point that I would probably bring up. When you're visiting with brides and grooms, let's not use swearing or, cussing, language that's, demeaning, potentially being kind to them as well. Don't pick on people when you're at the weddings or even not at the weddings. Make sure that you're driving, appropriately, because with Facebook nowadays, if you have your vehicle business name on your vehicle and people are posting that your driving is terrible, that doesn't look good. So you have to make sure that you're doing that. Don't smoke. Don't drink at your events. And wear nice clothes. You don't have to dress up in a tuxedo. You do whatever you want, whatever works for you, you do what you want. However, when we're moving and we're trying to get things done, it's really difficult sometimes to be able to do that. So I don't dress up in a dress. Obviously, I shouldn't say obviously anymore, but I don't wear a tux either. So, just dress in something that looks decent still. So we do button up. We have nice button up shirts that say our business name. Of course, you want to get something that isn't black, because a lot of the time, the caterers or the event centers have black shirts. So then they think you're the caterer or something, which they still do that anyways, even though we have dark gray shirts. But having your business name on your shirts and then button up shirts, especially if you have a team that is working with you and everyone can then kind of see that person goes with your team, that's really important too. I brought up being kind multiple times here, and that is one thing that has really gotten us through. And we do a really good job of admitting that we aren't perfect. We always tell our brides and grooms we are not perfect, but we will definitely do our best to be as perfect as we can for each event. We come with double computers and we come with double, external hard drives, and we make sure that we get there early and we do our best to take care of them as best we can. And that's really all you can do. Be organized, stay professional, stay kind, and you'll do really well in this industry. Make sure, though, that if you're going to do all these things, use professional equipment. So, I've bought cheap stuff over the years, especially when I first started out, and it just doesn't last. It might sound good for a little while, but as soon as you start noticing any kind of, anything wrong with it, just get rid of it and get something decent as quickly as you can. That's kind of the fun part about our job, is that we can get the fun stuff and decorate and really make things look nice. So those would be my pieces of advice after 20 years in the business. And I don't know everything. I'm still learning. I will continue to learn. And I think that we all should keep that mindset of just learning and doing our best to learn every day. And then you'll do really well. If you're not kind, if you get blacklisted from resorts and event centers, you're going to lose your business. It just, it does not last. So don't put on a front and then treat them like crap after they get you that contract, because that's how you're going to get those referrals. So good luck to everybody out there. Stay healthy. Good luck next year. I know we're going to be absolutely slammed next year. I'm definitely looking for more DJs up in this area if anybody is interested. But come in with that attitude of being kind and professional, and you'll do really well in this industry. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
it seems like when I click, it's like takes forever, and I don't know if it must be a Macintosh thing. I don't know.
You know what? I guarantee you, just say something say something kind of hot topic. Something. What's the word I'm looking for?
Color.
Yeah.
And then it would immediately.
Then you'll be live instantly.
Instantly.
Yeah.
So so we just jumped right from Alex to Karie Lynn. Karie Lynn is from Brainerd, Minnesota, which Ben actually might know a little bit about where that is.
It's pretty much the halfway point between you and me.
Yeah, pretty much. So Karie's up in this neck of the woods. Karie, talking about professionalism, treating your business as a business instead of a hobby, getting into that a little bit. A great lesson for those who are newer into this and just getting started. It's too easy in any business, whether it's DJ or what have you, to treat it more as a hobby and dumping and doing things that you probably wouldn't do if you were actually making it into a legitimate dollar in, dollar out business. So thank you much, Karie.
Starting out, businesses need cash infusions, and I didn't get to catch her presentation, and I certainly I don't think that I'll steal anything from her, but it's not to say that businesses can't get cash infusions, but understand that that's what they are, and they're investments from the ownership, and then you can take owner's draws that later maybe, but I would keep separate books, keep a separate checking account, and it's okay to pump money into your business because business is going to support you for a long time after that. But at some point that there has to be that sustaining point, right? So.
Excellent. Speaking of business,
excellent is John's way of saying shut up.
That's enough. I got something else I got to talk about.
We got to get to the next thing. Speaking of business, you're in your business, I've been told, and there's some pretty neat gear deals that are going on. Is there anything you could share with us? Those people who are
yes, there is. And it's funny. Yeah, you'd think after nearly almost 30 years, we'd find a way to be profitable. But with the deals like this, it's getting hard. So, gosh, I had to write them down. There's such a list, and I think part of that is because gigs are starting to pick back up. Things are happening. I actually just had a customer in Indianapolis tell me he's having a record year. He's pivoted successfully and doing some different things. And I said, well, you might be the only one having a record year. But, the fact is people are finding ways to do things, and some of those gigs are coming back. And so the manufacturers recognize this, and they want you to buy their stuff. So it's kind of like Black Friday early. Why do people have Black Friday? They want you to come into their store. Well, that's kind of what everybody's doing now. Everybody's running some great deals. And you can get them all from us at NLFX Pro. So without hesitation, here are some of the deals. Chevet lighting. Now, these are unadvertised specials. We're not allowed to actually advertise the prices, but we have some unadvertised specials if you ask for them. And you'd be crazy not to, because I'm telling you, they are good, beyond good. I'd love to say how good, but I'm not allowed. Anyway. If you're looking for Chevet lighting, or you're looking for lighting products, uplighting, effect lights, whatever, message us. How much time do I have? I have a big list, John.
Hustle through it. We
All right.
Big Daddy's our anchor tonight, and we want to make sure he has at least 2 minutes.
Big Daddy, my guy, Big Daddy.
He's a wrap up at the very end, and he's actually going to do it live, and that means that if he only has 90 seconds, he won't even be able to get his gosh darn Willikers in at all.
Yeah. You're not going to shut Big Daddy off.
Speaking of colorful, Big Daddy.
All right.
Happiness for it.
Yeah, and I think everybody knows Big Daddy. If you don't, you'll
get to see him in about an hour here tonight.
Yeah. All right. Stay tuned for that. DB Technologies makes fantastic loudspeakers. They pretty much their entire line. We have incredible, again, unadvertised discounts. Same sort of deal where they said, hey, go ahead and give these deals to people privately. We're not allowed to advertise it. That might sound silly to some of you. I don't really care how it sounds. That's just the way it is. It's reality. Message us. You'll find out it's the real deal. Speaking of speakers, the Evolve 50, probably the best-selling loudspeaker we've had in 20 years.
Yeah.
It's on sale. There's an EV advertised rebate, instant rebate of $200, and there's another unadvertised special. It's the same deal. The EV RE20, which is the broadcast standard. Pretty much 90% of the broadcast studios in the world you see have an RE20. John and I are both using the RE320, as you can see in John's screenshot there. I've got mine just off camera. The RE20 is actually the bigger brother. The RE320 is a little bit brighter. The RE20 is a bit more linear and smooth. Anyway, the broadcast standard mic, it's on sale this month. And Evie's RE3 wireless mics, which are pretty awesome, rock solid mics.
Yes.
Switchable power, 10 milliwatt, 50 milliwatt, 36 megahertz of tunable range. Those are on sale this month. JBL's SRX. I feel like I'm out of time. I will just say, if you're looking for gear, there has never been a better time to get that gear and to reach out to us at NLFX Pro, myself or Katie or Sam or Kat or whoever the person you like to talk to at NLFX is. Drop us a line and you can save some serious money as we head into fall.
So let's
Ben,
talk.
can I ask a question?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Of course you can.
And this is just something that is, I think, to the benefit of the room, perhaps. I'm going to word this very carefully. Would you say that it would be in a DJ or musician's best interest to contact a dealer directly when it comes to trying to find perhaps the best pricing on something, opposed to going on the website and just click and buy?
Yeah, but I think it's more complicated than that. And, we're a very personable dealer. We love having relationships with our customers. We love knowing people by name. In fact, John, we just had a show the other night, the Ask Ben Anything, and he was using first names, and I knew who he was talking about, even from first names.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think yes and no. Not everybody's receptive to that. Not every company is built for that. Not every company is built to do that sort of thing. So yes, I think there's that. But two, and I think that many, many, many times we have the best price. But despite that, I want to say that is not always an indicator of the best value. I know we have the best support. I know we have the best service.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that makes it a win-win. But that's what I'm saying. Price is only a part of that equation. We'd like to think you can have it all. And certainly we don't ask our customers to pay more. I think even if you did, you're still going to come out with a better value, because I know that for the years you're going to own that gear, we're going to have better support for it, better guidance on the front end, and better support on the back end. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, that's almost always, the best approach. But of course, I have to tell you, and I believe this with all my heart too, that the best approach is to contact us at NLFX Pro.
There you go. And I'll need some 30M bags eventually here. So I'm going to have to talk.
I got you back.
Thank you.
One final thing, Ben. The NLFX Platinum Series wires are now in white. Those will be shipping a little bit later this year. But if people call and they're ordering some things, they can get their wires, they can get their gaff tape, they can get all sorts of different NLFX branded things. And the white ones, yes, right there.
You gave me an NLFX mic cable that was about 3 feet long as a sample to do a video on probably 10 years ago. To this day, that is the mic cable that I use that goes from my handheld mic on my gooseneck to my mixing board. This is the best mic cable I have.
Well, thank you, Brian. And literally, I got a message similarly to that tonight. And yeah, it would have had to be like 10 or even 15 years ago, because we only gave out a handful of samples early on. And, that was really because we wanted to know what we had before we put it out there. And now the good news is you can buy those cables for the exact price that Grammy winners do, and Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, and Dove Award winners, and Country Music Hall of Famers, and everybody else, because we guarantee them. So everybody pays the same price.
Right.
We're not giving them away anymore, But that's a cool thing, is that, Grammy winners will buy our cable when they probably could get somebody else's for free. But free doesn't help you in the middle of the show, right? So thank you. I'm really glad to hear it's still working great after 10 years.
Yeah.
Not at all surprised. And we're excited. The white ones, by the way, John, we have started manufacturing as of this week.
Oh, nice. So
we are moving into, we've got our beta samples done, our delta samples are done, and now we're actually moving into production this week.
Excellent. So when are you?
Those of you that order them, you'll see them soon. Sorry, John, what were you going to say?
That's exactly what I was wondering. Yep. When we would be seeing them. So
yeah, those that have ordered them should see them next week, hitting their door, and then we're building the pre-orders, and then we're going to start to build up capacity to fill orders So feel free to place those orders now. Just in time for winter, you'll lose it in a snowbank.
Yeah,
that's probably not a very good sales pitch.
That's not a good. Yeah, no, not a good sales.
Scratch that.
Yeah, no, but
Never mind.
We're doing well until that point. Great stuff. Thanks for joining us, Ben, and sharing a little bit about what kind of deals are out there for the industry. Again, you guys can go out to nlfxpro.com and get the phone numbers there. You can look at the different options and such and find the things, and then give Katie a call, give Ben a call, or any of the staff, and they'll get you taken care of.
Yep. During business hours, we have live chat. Shoot us an email, send us a telegram. When the time is up, time for Big Daddy. I got to go, but please reach out to us and you will not be disappointed.
Actually, we've got DJ Scrappa up next from Australia.
Melbourne.
Oh, well, I thought it was Big Daddy's time I was cutting into. So let me tell you about the rest of these specials then. We've got some.
No. Interesting. Anyway, Ben.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm just teasing. That'll be a great show.
Giving you John's other shut up.
I was going to say, yes, that was the other one.
He's got the button he can just press and I'll just disappear.
Excellent.
Yeah.
If Ben did something twice, shut up. You're done.
Wonderful. Let's go. All right. Scrappa, I'm going to let you do the intro on this one, Brian. You've spent more time and gotten to know Scrappa in the chill room once again.
Yeah, Scrappa is a great guy. He's in Melbourne, Australia. He is a recycler. That's what he does. He actually drives the truck and picks up recycling for folks. And he's about my age, and he just got into DJing. And he's a sponge for information. He is just taking all of these great tips from folks who are in the showroom. He's asking questions. He's listening. Anything from music to equipment to how to structure an event. This guy has been very receptive. He's one of the nicest people you're ever going to talk to. Real laid back, and we have a lot of fun with him.
Excellent.
He's come a long way even since we started the showroom. He's really got his head around it. He's found something that I think he's going to do really well with. He'll be ready to go when Australia opens. This is your DJ.
Yeah, and he's going to be talking a little bit about a microphone utility with the SX3, the Pioneer SX3. So for those of you who are into the Pioneer gear, this will be kind of a neat little segment for you to learn about how to get that microphone kind of honed in a little bit better. And I need to go.
Hello everyone, it's DJ Scrappa on top of the world down under. I'm going to bring you a small video today on where to find the customizable mic setting utility for the SX3. I bought the SX3 and I saw the promotional video on the SX3 and I could not find it. It took me a while to find it. So this will give you a couple of extra settings for your mic channels. It'll give you reverb, compression for your controller mics. So to find this, we need to get on our computer and we need to log into the internet and search up Pioneer DJ, which will bring you to this page here. And on that page, I found the easiest way to look for these drivers is to go to the search bar up there, and once we've searched that and put in, I just typed in DDJ SX3 driver for Windows because I'm running a Windows computer. If you were running a Mac, you'd put in Mac. I clicked on that drivers for Windows there, and once I clicked onto that, it will bring up a page here which will give you all the different firmware for drivers. So I just scrolled down, found the Windows one, and you click on that, Windows the DDJ SX3 drivers. Once you've downloaded it, you can then go to, it'll come up and because I'm running 10, I go to All Apps, click on the All Apps button, scroll down to find Pioneer, clicked on Pioneer, and you'll see DDJ SX3 setting utility. And once you click on that, it'll open up this. On my computer that I use for DJing, I have made a shortcut and put it on my home screen so it's there ready to go. Alright, now this gives you some extra capabilities for your mic inputs. The SX3 has 3. So for the back mics, which is channel 3 and 4 on your controller, you now have your compression and reverb settings there. So if you wanted to add a bit of compression or reverb, it's just a matter of sliding the little toggle over, and that will give you compression. Same with the reverb, you can move that to wherever you want for your reverb. So that's your mics 3 and 4, 1 and 2, which is your 3 and 4 channels. Because it's part of the channels on your controller, you have the high, mid and low EQs already there. Mic 3, which only has the volume control, which is the front input mic on your controller, you don't have any control except for volume. So this utilities now gives you some extra capabilities for that front mic. So you can now add compression or take compression off your mic. You can now add some reverb or take reverb off, and it has your high, mid and low EQs for that microphone. The other thing it has the talk over for the mic, so you can select whichever mic you want or all mics to have that talk over function. Or the other thing is you can set record out with mic or without mic. So if you're recording a set and you don't want the mic, you can turn it off. You can turn it on. And you can choose to your out. You can turn the mic off for the booth monitors. We also have the other sampling rate and buffer size and latency there as well, and then it has about the version and what firmware version you're up to date with. Thank you for listening in, and it's DJ Scrappa signing out. Bye.
Welcome to DJ Talks, brought to you by Disc Jockey News TV. I'm Bill Marsh. We're going to be talking about legally building your music library on a budget. Where do you get your music? If you've been a DJ for less than 10 years, then chances are your entire library is digital. Hopefully you get your new music from one of these pools, which are excellent legal options. But where do you get your older music? This is a question I see asked in DJ groups several times a week. Unfortunately, far too many DJs are willing to use one of the many unlicensed, illegally operating music pools with unlimited downloads, or find some other even less legal ways to acquire older music. Aside from being unethical and illegal, where is the fun in that? Music is the most important tool of our trade, plastic things that were popular back in the 1990s, called compact discs, or as the cool kids called them, CDs. Yes, I said CDs are the best way to get older music. More specifically, greatest hits, compilations, and other types of sets like that can be an excellent resource to build your collection. You just rip the CDs into your computer, and like magic, they become digital files stored on your hard drive. Curate can come to the rescue. As I mentioned in a previous video, Goodwill is an excellent place to shop for CDs. And yes, we're still talking CDs. Most Goodwill stores sell CDs for about $1 to $3 a piece. Sometimes they'll sell multi-disc sets or box sets for the same price. Other times they could be $4 to $10. In some Goodwill stores, they'll have weekly half-price deals based on category. Some others do color-coded price tags with the color of the week at half price. The inventory is consistently rotating, so it helps to visit your local stores frequently and stop by stores you might pass occasionally, especially if you spot one while traveling and have the time to stop. Like Goodwill, the Salvation Army store, and faith-based nonprofit shops can be very similar. Their CDs typically sell for around $1 to $3 each, depending on your region. In my area, the inventory is not as consistent as Goodwill, but you never know when a collection of box sets or other rare finds might find their way on the shelf. It never hurts to let a manager or a friendly worker there know you're a DJ. They might call you when they have something specific you're looking for, or if they think it's something you might want. There was a time when pawn shops were considered sketchy businesses. Frequently never hurt to check them out. Like the thrift shops, it might also help to do a little networking and let the manager know you're always interested in CDs and DJ gear. You would be surprised how often they could call you about something you didn't even know you need. For a true music lover, finding a new vintage music store is equal to the archaeologist finding an unknown pyramid in their backyard. The digging is definitely the fun part. Good quality and rare used CDs can be in the $5 to $15 price range, but they all have a bargain bin where you might find CDs priced as low as 25 cents to $1. You will find some CDs in these stores that you can never find anywhere else. You'll also find some CDs that you see everywhere you go. Please do not go there just for the CDs, though. Go for the experience. Go for the thrill of the hunt. For finding something like a box set of Miami freestyle 12-inch remixes, or a compilation set of Studio 54 hits over the years. You may find what you're looking for, but you will probably find something you absolutely positively must buy. Remember when I said it helps to let a manager or a regular employee know that you're a DJ? I first went into the iconic Soundgarden in Baltimore in the late 90s after having all of my CDs stolen. That first visit, I bought about $100 worth of mostly bargain bin CDs, which got the manager's attention. I told her I was a DJ and buying CDs to replace what was stolen from me. She told me to send her a list of what I was having a hard time finding. In 2 weeks, she filled the list of about 150 CDs and sold them to me for $2 each. Ever since then, on a rare occasion, I may need something like an older song or even a song by a local indie artist that I cannot find anywhere else. I'll call the Soundgarden and they either already have it, they find it, or they tell me where to go to look for it next. There was a time when the only place you could buy a Garth Brooks CD was at Walmart. Now they're the place to go for $5 dump bin CDs. Those dump bins are filled with gold and platinum CD treasures, but they're not as much fun to dig through as the vintage record stores. Still, they will prove to be worth the dive practically every time. You will find a variety of CDs including artists' greatest hits, as well as their most popular albums, movie soundtracks, best of the 70s, 80s, and 90s compilations, as well as best of different genre sets like disco, big band, Motown, even a bride's guide to wedding songs. The possibilities are endless. I once found Huey Lewis in the News Sports and John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band box set in the same dump bin dive. We all know everything is now available on the internet. eBay and Facebook Marketplace have become platforms for people to buy and sell anything and everything in their pajamas. On any given day, you can find an endless list of CDs for sale, including CD collections from quote-unquote retired DJs, sometimes as bargain prices. Rumor has it there are even original CD collections from DJ pool services for sale on those sites from time to time, but I wouldn't know anything about that because we're really not supposed to sell our CDs like that. Yard sales, garage sales, and flea markets can also end up being a great resource, but as DJs, Going to yard sales does not fit into our schedules very well, but perhaps you know someone who loves to go to yard sales. Maybe your neighbor has a booth at a local flea market. If you give them an idea of the types of music you need or want, they can be your personal shoppers. From a price standpoint, even if they bought a box of 50 to 100 CDs and you only find 20 CDs out of that box that you would use, they might have only paid $5 for the whole box. On January 9th, 2001, iTunes changed the world and made it possible to buy digital music from your couch. At that time, Amazon had already been selling CDs for more than 6 years. Amazon still sells CDs now, as well as digital music, but in true 2020 fashion, Apple killed iTunes and confused the world by launching Apple Music. Rumor has it, though, they still sell digital music. Your odds of finding older songs on Amazon are increased with the availability to buy CDs. They even sell used CDs, which has saved me more than once when I needed a song that was only released on a CD, that is no longer available, and was never sold as a digital file. Amazon also seems to have a much wider variety of best-of compilation sets and CDs, sometimes also on digital file. Another question that gets asked occasionally is what labels sell CDs with the best selection of back catalog music? Most DJs will tell you to get anything you can find from Time Life Music, Now That's What I Call Music, and Billboard Hits, and I would completely agree. Rhino Records produce the Billboard hit sets, and you will find countless other compilations from Rhino, as well as other compilations from Sony Music, Universal Music, and Warner Music. And it's worth adding that oftentimes you'll find compilations from those labels on their UK or European versions, and those will have songs that you won't find anywhere else. A great trick to look for when buying music on Amazon is the CD price can sometimes be lower than the MP3 price. But often when you order the CD, they have a feature called Auto Rip to download the MP3 file for free. This is an example of the CD that's $9.99 with Auto Rip included, and just the MP3 file is $19.99. Now That's What I Call Music in the US released CD number 100 in 2018. They followed that up with a special compilation to celebrate the moment, 100 Hits from 100 Nows. This has a hit song from each of the first 100 CDs, starting with Karma Chameleon by Culture Club from CD 1, to Shotgun by Georgiou from CD 100. That's 20 years of hits on one 5-CD compilation, and it's currently selling for $16.49 on Amazon. With Yacht Rock's sudden popularity, Now That's What I Call Music has already come out with Yacht Rock 1 and Yacht Rock Volume 2. If you take a quick look here, you'll notice the MP3 files are cheaper this time for only $7.99 a piece. At roughly $16, you can end up with 36 songs of nothing but yacht rock. And that basically gives you an hour and a half to 2 hours of a yacht rock dinner or cocktail hour set. Another great thing about that makes 44.4 cents per song. I came across these series called 100 Hits, released by Sony Records UK when I was doing my research for this video on Amazon. One of the things that stood out to me is that these are all, of course, songs from the UK, which means some of them may not have even been released here in the US. That's helpful, especially if you have a bride asking for something by Westlife that they absolutely positively have to have. The other nice thing is these CDs range in price from $11 to $14 each for 100 songs. If you get 10, that's 1,000 songs for about $125. As I mentioned before, when all else fails, your public library can actually be a great lifesaver. Did you know that most public libraries have massive CD collections, and you can usually borrow them for free? I have at least 100 CDs of classical music and just as many different digital albums that I've purchased over the years. But for my last wedding, I needed a specific version of Jupiter from the symphony called The Planets by Holst, performed by the London Philharmonic and David Perry as the conductor. I had over 20 versions of that specific song, but not that exact version. So I went to my local library website found it on a box set, borrowed the box set for the wedding, and returned it. Since I did not rip the CDs from the box set, it was all perfectly legal copyright-wise, and it cost me nothing. I know this all sounds crazy in the digital age, but if you already have a physical music library of CDs and records that you've ripped into digital files, you're supposed to keep them in the original format as proof of ownership for copyright purposes. Why not show them off in your office or as a backdrop in your studio? I'm sure you can remember seeing a few other people with tons of records as a backdrop in their studio. Now, get out there and start shopping. I want to thank you all for watching. I also want to thank John Young at Disc Jockey News TV and Ben Stowe at NLFX Pro for sponsoring DJ Talks. This is Bill Marsh, and remember, it's not just music, it's the whole party.
All right, we are back now. In that video that Bill did, he had mentioned something about one of the CDs. Brian, what did he have? He had something he said.
Well, yeah, I didn't know we were going to go back to back. I was going to segue into this for Bill. He made a little mistake in the video. He just wanted to put a little, what do you call that in journalism? Where you put a it would be the if it's addendum or something like that.
Yeah, there would be an SIC that there was an error made.
There was correction. Okay, so the correction was when he's talking about the now 100 CDs. He said they're from the US series. They're actually the UK series. So the now CDs from the UK or records or whatever are amazing. If you only are familiar with the US now, get familiar with the UK now. They are legendary. And I'm an avid collector of the records and the CDs and even the cassettes. Mm-hmm. They're very good. They go way back to, I think, 1983. And the first song on the first Now, does anybody know the answer to that question? I do.
No idea.
It's You Can't Hurry Love by Phil Collins. It goes back that far, and they're still doing them. So it's a very successful series. They didn't start doing Now here until the 2000s, I don't think.
Yeah, it was much later, and I think they probably do more in the Christian community right now with the Now series. They were huge in that arena for a period of time.
In the UK, they've always been double albums. They are also double CDs too. So they're chock full of songs. And usually the regular Nows will come out quarterly. You'll get 4 a year. Anyway, the Now 100 of 100s are actually from the UK series.
And
just to clarify.
For a lot of that stuff, if you guys do some searching, you can order things. I mean, I've ordered CDs from Australia. I've ordered from the UK. So you can get hard, the hard copies in essence of
yes, things. You can. You can do it even on eBay. You can get those things. If you can't find them anywhere else, go to eBay.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. Okay, we are down to the final five. We're going to run the next two. We've got Mike Walter and Lou Paris. We're going to do those two back to back. Then we're going to come back and we're going to do one of the drawings and a little bit more and drawings. And then Big Daddy's going to wrap us up here in about a half hour, give or take. Mike Walter, let's see. Oh, he's headed a little disco. He's going to be talking about the story behind We Are Family. So that is up next.
What's up, everybody? Mike Walter here with another behind-the-scenes music story. You play We Are Family, right? Sometimes your events, I know it's overplayed, it's cliche, it's cheesy, some people think, but let's face it, it's a great party song at a wedding when you're bringing family members together. We are family. It's a great song, right? So admit it, even privately, you play it. Some very interesting background about that song. First of all, Sister Sledge is indeed made up of four sisters. They were signed in the early 70s. Their first two albums were not really very successful, especially here in the States. But Atlantic Records, which was their record company, didn't want to give up on them. They believed they had some hit potential with this band. They also had another band on their roster, Chic. Now, this is mid-70s by this point, and disco is all the rage, right? So they bring Niles Rodgers and Bernard Edwards in. Those are the two main producers and songwriters for Chic. And they say, look, we want to capitalize on what's hot. You guys are creating a hot sound with your band. How about you write and produce some songs for other artists? And they were both like, great, sounds like an awesome idea. What do you have in mind? Atlantic says, well, how about you come up with a song for the Rolling Stones? Niles Rodgers is like, who? Rolling Stones? They're a hit band. They don't need our help. How about Bette Midler? She's a big artist already. Niles Rodgers understood one thing. If he wrote and produced a song for a hit band already, they weren't going to get credit. Everyone was going to say, well, there's the Rolling Stones again. There's Bette Midler. But if they wrote and produced a song for a hit band that became a flop, they would get the blame. So it was a no-win situation. So Rodgers and Edwards said, well, forget about having one of your hit bands, one of your top bands. Why don't you give us a band that's struggling on your roster? We'll see if we can come up with something. So Atlantic said, that's a good idea. Why don't you write something for this band, Sister Sledge, that we've had on our roster and they haven't been able to come up with a hit. So Rodgers and Edwards says, okay, well, tell us about the band. And Atlantic Records, the producers, literally said, listen, they're four sisters. They describe them, this and that. Rodgers and Edwards sit down. They write We Are Family strictly from the notes that they took in that meeting. We are family. I've got all my sisters with me, blah, blah, blah. They come up with that song, produce it, and it becomes a huge hit for Sister Sledge, basically puts them on the map. And from there, they had a number of hits throughout the 70s. So that's the story behind a song that you might not admit it, but I'll bet you play it at some of your events.
DJ Lou here from Paris Creative, and this one is going to be a story time like presentation. And sorry for the background change. I'm actually on vacation right now in North Carolina, and I wanted to kind of go over my previous wedding from just a couple days ago, and talk about how some of my preparations from previous weddings had actually gotten me through this wedding, and how probably one of the most important things you'll ever have as part of your arsenal as a mobile or wedding DJ. And that is being flexible, to be able to think on your toes, to come up with solutions and then execute them. Again, just a couple days ago, I pull up to the venue. I've already worked there before, so I touch base with the owner and we start talking about the schedule of the couple. And immediately there's a small conflict. The couple had an idea of being down there a bit earlier. So we started talking about that, and they agreed that they could easily do that. And I actually had to go back to the couple and tell them that, what seemed to be part of their idea, they would need to have me for a little bit longer. They were totally fine with that. We already had my plan in my mind now. I was going to be doing an additional hour of overtime at least. And I knew at that point I would be having two separate locations for my setup. So I decided to have in one part of an area that was going to be serving both cocktail and dinner time, that I would set up one of my laptops instead of just using my Soundcraft. So that way I could do a little bit more creative blending with music through Virtual DJ, and then set up my secondary setup down in this area. Well, I also knew that it was kind of cloudy that day. We had some rain. And while the radar looked clear, first, of course, I made sure that there was a tent down there, which they definitely provided. But once I got everything set up in the secondary location, I put bags over everything just to make sure, just in case if something did, kind of like a sprinkle came through or whatnot, it'd be protected. So got everything set up, sound checked, and then bagged up for down there. So we're at cocktail. At this point, the couple gets married. I'm not doing the ceremony as part of this. As they're coming up, I start my cocktail hour. Everything's great till the second song. And I noticed on Virtual DJ that it showed like about 2 seconds of a song in the waveform, and then that was it. And I was like, oh, great, corrupt song, no big deal. I just clicked on for the next one, and it did the same thing. Luckily for me, I've got my Soundcraft UI24, which now I can start playing off of that, reboot my laptop, and then get everything back around. In this case, I took the 2 songs that I had played off my USB drive on the Soundcraft. I took that out of the rotation of Virtual DJ. Life is good. So knowing that, I had my Soundcraft to roll into an emergency, roll at that point, reboot the laptop or swap out the laptop if necessary, and then play that. So definitely a nice lesson learned from ages ago of always having a backup. And in this case, having the Soundcraft, it allows me to immediately play something with minimal to zero interruption. So got that rebooted. Everything's great. We get through cocktail, we start dinner, and then I get an alert on my phone, and it says, heavy storms, 15 minutes out. And I'm like, what the heck? And, I pull up my radar, and there's this big bow of storms coming. We're under a severe watch. And now I'm thinking, okay, now I've got my equipment down in this area. And while it's generally protected, it's not 100%. And so I'm concerned about that. I run back down, make sure everything's tightened up as much as I can, because there's no way I'm going to be able to collapse everything in time before the storm starts. This is also butting up right around the time where toasts would be happening. I immediately formed the couple, that the storm is going to be coming. Did you want to have a toast right away before this started? And they're like, let's just wait it out. So I told them I'm going to, go down to my equipment, check things out. The storm starts a quick burst of lots of energy. It didn't last too long, last probably about 10 minutes or so. But the power briefly went out, but kicked back on from the generator. Well, that only lasted, I want to say 10 minutes or so into it, where the generator died. And unfortunately, staff couldn't get back up to running more than a couple seconds. So we decide we're going to still do toast. We're going to do it by candlelight. So the photographer definitely got a whole different type of view than what he was expecting. We were able to get toast done. I'm running on UPS power. In this configuration, I have my Maui 5 Go's, which are battery powered to begin with. I can run many, many, many hours on those. And with my UPS, I had around 90 minutes to start. So power's still out. We decide we're going to do our first dances and all that, but it's getting dark out now. So we have an idea of bringing candles out to the outside. So it gives a real, cool ambiance to that. Just as we're getting ready to kick that off, staff got the power working. So I was like, okay, well, why don't we do this? We got our first dances and everything done. I'm going to go collapse my equipment down on the main site, since it's, a slush, puddle down there now. Let me grab that. Then I can set up my console, so I can spin and do some mixing. So I do that, get everything set up on that. I get about 10 minutes or so into my dance segment, and I should say dance segment in quotes, because of course we really can't dance really a whole lot, so let's call it toe tapping in this case. Thank you, COVID in 2020. And power goes out again. Generator basically shook itself dead. Staff continues to work on the generator for a while. I have about 12 minutes of runtime at that point on it. I basically mix out 2 more songs on my controller, and then I know that I need to switch back over to my laptop, so this way I can conserve power. So I end up going with my final solution of laptop into the Maui 5 Go, so we would have music. I played all the music we had already planned out for my Play of Possibles and some of the things I had already done, so that was already there. People, again, we can't do a whole lot of dancing or anything anyways, but with the power out, with the storm that had gone through, and to top all this off, when the storm came through, and it took us a while to find out, but a tree had gone down at the beginning of the drive, coming up into us like a private drive, so nobody would be able to leave. So power is out. We can't leave. They're working furiously on a generator. Eventually, they do get it working to enough to power some areas. But at that point, we're pretty much at the end of the night at that point. What does all this have to do with everything that's, this video? Flexibility. Being able, to have my battery backup kick in when necessary, so the music isn't interrupted in that regard, and having 90 minutes of power definitely gave me a lot of flexibility to be able to make some choices, to be able to do some things, go ultimately to my last plan once I ran out of power in that. But if I didn't have that before, we would just not be anywhere. If I didn't have my Maui 5 Go speakers, we wouldn't have any sound in that at all. Definitely one of my best investments between my digital mixer, the Maui 5 Go's, great, great investments. I can't stress enough. But between all that, again, is the flexibility. It's that coordination with the couple and the venue owner to make sure that, hey, we're all on the same page. We know exactly what's going to be going on during the event, and then changing as necessary. As the storm's coming, are we going to change the time of toasts and all that? Power's out. How are we going to retool the schedule in such a way to get all our important stuff out of the way, so that way we can work around the parameters of what we've got, here. And then again, having the equipment to be able to do so. All of these are just, I think, a super critical aspect of what a wedding DJ and a mobile DJ needs to have. It's more than just spinning music. It's more than even some just of the pre-planning. It's being able to think on your feet. It's being able to coming up with scenarios, to have the proper equipment, and then be able to, execute those as flawlessly as possible. And luckily, I got a great 5-star review for my couple this weekend. And it's setting up all these prior relationships, earning their trust, thinking on your feet, being flexible, having the proper equipment to do what you need to do. All these things are super important as a mobile DJ. So be flexible, everybody. Be safe, everybody, in 2020. I hope everybody has enjoyed this video.
Shut that microphone. So that way I'm not going to hear myself talk. Otherwise, if I don't, then all of a sudden I hear myself, and then there's the delay, and then I start listening to myself, and it really gets weird and awkward.
Start falling in love with your own voice.
Yeah, exactly. It's really kind of an odd.
Maybe that's what Jay Brennan does.
I don't know if he has time to listen to himself talk, but that's our story for another day. Lou Paris, ladies and gentlemen. Lou is in the chat room. Thank you, Lou, for putting that together for us. And I think as watching the chat room, people were really getting into your presentation tonight. So excellent stuff. Okay, we've got 3 left. We're going to do Thomas Heath. Thomas Heath is going to be talking about selling to Grooms. We're going to do it with that. We're going to go back to back with Matt Peterson talking about finding some different types of gigs as we go forward. Those will be next. But first, we're going to give away or do the drawing for the speaker. Now, for the speakers that are doing the DJNTV DJ talks, they are eligible. We throw all their names into a hat, and one night we draw for a $500 gift card to NLFX Pro, and tonight we're giving away the second one. So in order to be eligible to win a $500 gift card, you've got to do a presentation during one of these DJ talks events, which is like a TED Talk, 10 minutes of a topic. The next one's in January. If you're interested in being part of that one, let me know. Because you can not only be eligible to win if you're in the chat room here with YouTube, but you can also be eligible because you had a video. And that's what we're at. We've got 20 names in the list. Brian, I'm going to switch us over to the random number generator.
All right.
So I got to change. Oops, I'm trying to click on it. I can't click on it and change it on Restream or the Wirecast. It's like, why is it not changing the number? Well, that's because I've got to go to the page. Okay, Brian, give me a number of times we need to click the regenerate button to find our winner.
Between 3 and 10?
Sure.
Let's go 5.
We're going to do 5. So here's number 1. Number 2. 3. There's 4. And this will be number 5. Let's see. Wait a second. I just lost my... It just went away. I got to get it back up here. There we go. Okay, so number 17. If we wouldn't be clicking one more time. Number 17 was Matt Peterson on the list. Sorry, Matt, you were that close.
That's cursing me. Why it's big 4, dude?
Yeah, exactly. 4 would have gotten
Sorry,
you.
Matt.
But we're back to 7 again. 7 is Michelle Miller. DJ Rundat is our winner. She was on last night. Michelle did Get Your Shift Together was her presentation last night. If you guys didn't get a chance to watch last night's, it is out there on YouTube, youtube.com/discjockeynews. You'll be able to find it. But Michelle, congratulations. You are the winner of our second $500 at NLFX Pro. And of course, you can use that to buy some of that gear that Ben was talking about that is on special right now.
Ooh.
It's always fun.
So not only do you get stuff, but you get stuff at the special price. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. And anyway, like he mentioned, of course, started with Chauvet, but that can get you a couple of lights, a few lights actually, depending upon what you're getting into.
Sure.
Microphones. I mean, as he was going through the microphones, it's like, yeah, I think that's where I would go. Because a better quality microphone, you always are like, okay, if it's a good mic, I want better.
Mm-hmm.
There's always room for a better microphone. So
it's up to her. Whatever she wants, go get it.
you can do that.
It's
So
all yours.
Michelle, I've got your email. I'll get it over to them. So you will be set starting tomorrow. They'll be able to get you hooked up. So
what did I say about lucky number 7?
you did.
Before?
I know. That's kind of weird and creepy all at the same time.
Yeah. My daughter says that I'm not always right. I'm just a prophet, and I'm a really good prophet. So whatever I say comes to pass.
Well, it kind of did right there. So we have one more drawing. This one will be done in just a few minutes. We're going to be doing that in the chat room. We'll give you the word to use, and we'll give you that in just a little bit. Again, we're going to be Thomas Heath with Selling to the Groom, Matt Peterson looking for different types of gigs coming up here in 2021. And then we'll have our drawing and get Big Daddy up to wrap things up tonight.
All right.
Go with Thomas Heath.
Hi, my name is Thomas Heath, and I own Thomas Heath Events, which is a DJ and planning company. That's right. Sometimes DJs are wedding planners. Today, I just want to talk to you about selling to grooms. Now, grooms are usually involved in the process when the bride, or soon-to-be bride, has given them one job. That job is typically hiring the DJ. So what I want to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about how you can sell to grooms. Now, I just want to know the way it's supposed to. There isn't always a bride involved. So that is first and foremost in everything that you do. If you want to market to more than just straight heteronormative couples, there's not always a bride involved. There's not always a groom involved, to be fair. So your wording is important. Question, what do grooms look for? Now, I interviewed 4 grooms that were very, very involved in the DJ hiring process. They range from one of our couples, Brandon and Joe, which you just saw there, John, who was actually a wedding DJ at one point, Alex, who is a personal trainer, and Dan, who owns a specialty grocery emporium. I asked all of them 3 questions, and I asked some follow-up questions as well. But the first 3 questions, question number 1, what were you looking for when searching out entertainment for your wedding? The answers were all over the board. Some of those things. They talked about how the personality came out during the sales call that they had with me, or the sales meeting when they came into our showroom in person. Personality was important. The ability to have a back and forth conversation. They all also looked for a proven track record of having weddings that were what they were looking for. They all wanted to have, obviously, they want to have a fun wedding, but they wanted something different. They wanted to have something more. So they were looking for someone who could deliver on what they said they could do. They also looked a lot at reviews. Now we have, we're a smaller company. We have over 100 reviews on a couple of the wedding focused search engine sites that are out there. And a lot of those reviews talk about what we do and how we actually do what we say that we're going to do. And a big thing that all of them said was they were looking for someone to help them through this entire process, whether it was helping to coordinate with their other vendors, whether it was helping them to plan and create a timeline for their wedding. They just wanted someone to help them pull off this wedding that they'd been looking forward to. The biggest thing that every one of them said was they were looking for someone who had a sense of professionalism. They did not want somebody who was there yucking it up, somebody who was not going to be a professional entertainer, a professional DJ, and all of them also did mention in their reviews, as well as the interview that we had with them, that they were looking for a master of ceremonies. Whether they knew what that was in advance remained to be seen, but they knew they wanted something more than just somebody playing music to their crowd. This is Dan and Danny. Dan, of course, like I said, they both actually own a wonderful shop in a small resort community here. I asked the next question. How did you start your search? The internet is a huge part of all of this. This entire process is very internet focused. They actually started by reaching out to their other vendors and other industry professionals. And there's a fly. That's so fun. They actually reached out to other vendors that they were already working with or that they knew, looking for that professional DJ, that professional master of ceremonies, someone that they had also worked with and they enjoyed working with. Their preferred vendor lists for their venues. That was a big one for many of our couples. We are the preferred service provider for many of the venues in our area. So that is a huge stamp of approval for grooms looking for that perfect DJ, that perfect MC, that perfect entertainer to fill that spot for them. Of course, they use Google. And one of the things that I noticed a lot from their responses was the Google took them to our web page. And when they got to our web page, they saw that it was not, hey bride to be. It was, are you looking for an amazing experience? It was all inclusive. It did not detract from anybody else. They also found us on some wedding focused search engines. Of course, there are review sites all over the internet. And there's a couple of them, probably the two big ones. And we've got, like I said, over 100 reviews on those sites. And the reviews, of course, the best way that we can really show what we do. And of course, I talked a little bit about a website and making sure that that website is inclusive for everybody. So it doesn't just say groom either. It just says couple, and the words that we use on the website are very inclusive for everybody. After they got through the search, after they figured out what they were looking for and what they wanted, it was time to make that big decision and what goes into that for them. This is Karie Lynn and Alex. They're married at that beautiful barn in the background there. My third question, what was the determining factor for selecting the entertainer that you did? The answers, again, were really, really similar. And these, of course, are four very, very different grooms. The first one, did our reviews and did the conversation that we had, did the meetings that we had, did the words of encouragement from other vendors and other venues say that we would deliver what we said we would do. They want those deliverables. They're very analytical, especially our grooms and our couples are all very type A. So they're very analytical and they're looking for the proof being in the pudding. They're all, as I said, they're very detail oriented as well. So they wanted to know that we had the same attention to detail for their wedding that they did. And all of these grooms took it upon themselves. They took the reins on this decision of hiring the entertainment. They weren't tasked with that. They weren't tasked with having to, hey, go hire the DJ. Of course, I spoke about this before. The reviews were a big part of their decision-making process. The personal connection. Alex told me that when we met here in person in our showroom, that he realized that we had more than just a business client relationship, that we could actually have a friend relationship. All of these gentlemen, all of these grooms, I am friends with to this day. We have dinner whenever they're in the area, and we talk almost weekly about how everything is going, how's married life. Being a friend, being actually involved in their life is important. And if you can show them that that's going to be the way moving forward, that's something else that helps them make that decision. Here's John and Lauren. Perceived value. All of these gentlemen made the decision to pay more. Cost was not a factor. The price tag was not a factor. What was the biggest deciding factor for them was the perceived value that we were going to do exactly what they wanted us to do. We were going to be able to pull off the wedding that they wanted. This fly is making me crazy. Again, price was rarely a factor. They felt involved in the process, and that's a big part of this. A big part of how we can make sure that all the people that are tasked with this, because they've never hired a DJ before, they wanted to be involved in the process. So we made them an important part of the entire process, from booking to payments to planning to everything. They were involved in the entire process. So moving on, what to focus on. A few quick tips. What can you do now? And quickly, within the next half an hour, what can you do now within the next half an hour to make your website or your messaging, your ads, your Facebook, your Instagram, what can you do now to help you appeal to grooms that may be tasked with this, or maybe searching for somebody who gets them? Somebody who gets them. Rewording your website. Taking out all of the bride-focused messaging. There's nothing wrong with that, but that is not going to help you when grooms are looking for a DJ that gets them. When they're looking for an entertainment company that gets them and understands what they're going through and speaks their language. Adapting your message. Taking out all the bridal and taking out all of the the words that are focused on brides, and adapting it to building a connection with people, being somebody that's on their side and being somebody that wants them to be involved. You want, even if you don't want to try marketing to grooms, you want to have them be part of the process, because at the end of the day, the end result will be so much better if they're involved and not just riding along and showing your worth. You do that with your reviews, you do that with video, you do that with testimonials, you do that by getting the message out that you are helping them and you're here to help with all of the things that they do. Connecting. Becoming friends with people and trying to is really going to help. You're going to show so much more about yourself, and the only way that you can do that is actually showing yourself to them and being vulnerable and being open, being honest, telling them when something isn't a good idea, telling them when something is a good idea, giving them ideas to take back or to take with them. I want to thank you all for hanging out with me for a little bit, talking about marketing to grooms. And again, check out brandingyourplanning.com if you have any questions, if you'd like to connect, if you'd like to set up a one-on-one chat with me. I'm here. Let me know. Peace out. Thank you so much.
Good evening, John. What's that, Matt? You say you're from where? The Bay State, Massachusetts? Yes, it is true. For the past 32 years, I've been running our business within Massachusetts, and I got to be honest, these have been some of the most toughest times I've ever encountered in all of our experiences. Why, you ask? Well, you don't have to look very far to look back and see that. Effective as of March 15th of this year, COVID-19 struck downtown entertainment venue. I lost 10 years providing our DJ services for a weekly car show that happened every single Monday night that lasted 7 months out of the year. I lost all of our weddings. I lost our burned. Anything that you could think of that for me to possibly DJ or do was suddenly taken away from me as the rug was pulled out from underneath our feet, and I lost any possibility of any work and income for the entire year of 2020. I'm not saying that to brag or boast, but I lost inevitably what suggestions or possibilities to how you can look for brand new gigs within the new coming year. Now, I know what you're saying. Boo-hoo-hoo, Matt. So sorry. You've lost a couple of events. You've rescheduled a couple of events, and next year's going to pick back up. Peterson. Hey, there's DJ Matt Peterson. Here's the DJ. He's welcome. Anywhere I walked in the room, that's what I was known at. I feel lost right now. I feel at a total loss because I don't know what to do, how to move forward, what can we do. I don't even know when my next gig or event is coming from. So, how do we move past COVID-19? What do we do, or what can we do as professional entertainers to look forward, to look for that silver lining that should be coming ahead very soon, but unfortunately is coming at no definite timeline. We have absolutely no idea how long COVID is going to be around for, and I gotta be honest, it looks like it's going to be sticking around for quite a while. So, what can we do? The number one question I get asked all the time by anyone I know is, Matt, do you think this is the new norm? Is this the way things are going to be for the future? How do you see things moving forward? Unfortunately, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a vaccine provider. I don't know when this is going to end. Unfortunately, I do know that for the foreseeable future, Peterson Productions and all the DJs within Massachusetts don't have any weekly gigs or income coming in because we cannot perform at weddings due to the recent regulations and state law mandatory laws that says you cannot have an event over 25 to 50 people. That's it. That's restaurants, that's bars, that's everything. That's a lot of our annual income. But don't worry about it, because I'm here to tell you a few of the ways that you can do about it. While this may be the norm for quite a while, look ahead, look to the future. Don't get caught up in yourself. Don't start getting depressed and getting worried. Don't start bugging out about where your next event's coming from or anything like that. Take time right now to sit down, seriously look at you, your business, your life, even your health style. Look at what you can do today to move forward. Always look ahead and always be moving forward. What can you do? It is time for all of us DJs and entertainers to go back to the very beginning, go back to the basics. What can we do to entertain our future clients in the foreseeable future? Get back to the basics. Ask yourself why you got into DJing. Look at what you can do to get your skills back up to par, okay? Know your strengths and weaknesses. Look at what you can do and how you can entertain your future clients. Get back to knowing our skills and everything. And now I know it's been hard, and some of us may have been shuttered in our homes or even our offices, sitting there going, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Take a look at your gear. Take a look at your equipment. Take a look at you. Can you learn a new skill? Can you learn a new hobby? Can you learn beat mixing? Can you learn something new? Go ahead and focus on your skills and take a hard, long look at what you can do to move forward. Know your strengths and weaknesses. Revise your business plan. Take a look at things right now. Do diligent time right now and go ahead and invest in yourself. Personally and professionally, you'll be much better off for it in the future if you go ahead and invest in yourself. Get back to the basics, okay? Think way back to the very beginning when you first started DJing. Anyone you came in contact with, you had a business card. You told them who you were. You told them you were excited. You wanted to do their event. You asked them to invite you to the wedding, the birthday party, the Jack and Jill, whatever type of event you had your business cards readily available. Please take the time, go ahead and redesign your business cards. Here is a perfect opportunity for you to go ahead and brand yourself and get back in the public eyes. Okay, we need to stay relevant. As DJs and entertainers, you need to stay relevant. You need to be current. You need to be up to date. So please go ahead and brand yourself. Look at this. There you go. Yep. Custom branded face mask to keep you safe and available during these tough times. Peterson Productions Disc Jockeys, National Association of Mobile Entertainers teaming together to bring safety custom mask. Go ahead, brand yourself. You can see I have a beautiful shirt right over here. Go ahead, take the time. Make sure everyone knows that you are the professional DJ or entertainer. Look at these headphones from Floyd Rose. I took the time to go ahead and have those made up a while ago. Brand yourself. Always remember to brand yourself, stay relevant, stay current, be active. Tell everyone what you are doing, okay? Be relevant, stay up to date, stay on people's minds. Don't go onto the Facebook, don't go onto the social media, don't go on Instagram or Twitter and say, oh, boo-hoo, me, I've lost my business, I can't do anything. I call BS on that. Get active, get out there, do something. Stay relevant. Stay in contact with all of your clients, previous, past, or even future clients. If you had to reschedule your events or change something or remodify things, think of how you can move forward. Be there for your clients at all times. Clear, concise, persistent communication is how you're going to keep them, and they're going to think of you when their next event comes around. Invest in yourself. As I said it before, brand yourself. Take the time to invest in yourself. Now, it might not be the best time right now to go out and buy brand new gear or equipment if you don't have money. I've actually coined a term recently called suspended spending. Well, I didn't have money coming in, so I wasn't spending new money or gear. Repurpose your gear. Repurpose your equipment. I was able to go ahead and do that. DJing stopped, slowed down, so I lost my speed quizzing gigs. I lost my trivia gigs. I lost my karaoke gigs. All the bars were shut down. The reason I mention these is these were events that I had going that were annual events, weekly events that kept coming and going and going and going. Be on the lookout for your next great event. Be on the lookout for the next possibility of what you can do. In the meantime, I took some time off to invest in myself and think about things. Go and look at DJ Books. Disc Jockey News Television is fantastic. DJNTV, I highly recommend them, and I love being able to be involved in these meetings. If you can become involved or if you can do any research, please do your work, do your diligent work. Go online, look up DJs, talk to fellow DJs, communicate with them, get back to networking. We have to network amongst each other. We have to work with each other. If I can't do an event, I definitely want to go ahead and recommend someone, a local DJ company who can do, if not a better job than me, as good a job as I can, okay? Know your strengths and weaknesses. We need to brand ourselves. We need to invest in ourselves. We need to network with each other. Stay in touch. Stay relevant. Stay in touch with your clients. Be there for whatever they need. When your clients do call in, or they send you an email or talk to you or get in touch with you anyway, greet them. Thank them for giving you the opportunity to be at their next event. Stay relevant, stay true, be active, and think about how you can go ahead and change things. Now, I said I took the time to invest in my business and to look at things. Seriously, take a look at how you can repurpose your equipment. Once this COVID-19 came and hit the bricks, I had to go all the way back to the very beginning and figure out what I could do. I went ahead and I started with mobile bubble parties. That worked great for the first 2 months while the graduation parties and everything were going on. As soon as graduation parties ended up and the bubble parties and the mobile parties, drive-by bubble parties, drive-by mobile DJ parties, drive-by events. If you can get involved in a communication or get in touch with a group of people or a community that is putting together a parade or a drive-by party, jump at that opportunity. You may have to do a couple of free events, but that's okay. As long as you are putting work back into the local community, go ahead. I strongly encourage it. The other thing I did was I took advantage of equipment I had lying around. I had the projectors, I had videos, I had movies. I've gone now and we are now doing outdoor movie screens. This is a great opportunity for you to go ahead and get in touch with the local community and set up and still be able to DJ a community event before. Now, weddings are coming back, and yes, they are. Be there for your clients. Be there for your future brides and grooms. Answer your phone readily. Talk to them every day. Talk to them. Do whatever you can to make them feel at ease and make sure that you stay relevant, stay true to yourself, and be active. The other thing, I know I'm running a little late here, but John, I just want to mention one more final thing. As you rebrand yourself, be on the lookout for new, exciting ways to entertain local crowds. Okay? You don't have to look very hard. Take a look at local television. Take a look at the networks right now. If you look at someone right now, for example, on national television is a brand new TV show called Tag that features none other than J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt, and Derek Watt from the NFL as hosts of their own game show. Ellen is doing her own game show, Game of Games. You also have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Yes, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson from WWE now has his own show on called The Titan Games on national TV. Don't be afraid to look ahead and encourage and be active for that next up-and-coming gig. Come up in next month, I do believe in October, I'm going to be talking about how you can go ahead and possibly get your next sporting event or how you can MC a sporting event. Thank you very much for listening to me, DJ Matt Peterson from Peterson Productions Disc Jockeys. On behalf of Disc Jockey News Television and Disc Jockey News TV, thank you so much for listening. Certainly hope everything finds you well. Take it away, John.
All right, that was Thomas Heath and Matt Peterson. And for those of you watching, unfortunately, YouTube is kind of doing some buffering things with us tonight. All the videos that you're watching, everything's recorded as one large show, and then we're going to be putting the individual videos up because a lot of people put a lot of work into these, and we want to make sure that they can be seen. So if you missed part of it, if it did that, I apologize. I know Matt's had a couple of spinning wheels I saw. It's just YouTube is that way. When you've been utilizing it, sometimes it's good, sometimes not so good. So, Sean, Big Daddy McKee is with us here for our final session. Good evening, Sean.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. How are we?
We are doing great.
Everybody was absolutely amazing both nights. We got to remember one thing, folks. And Brian and John, I love you both very, very much.
Love
and
you too, Sean.
Brian, I promise, when I call you for your birthday, I won't sing.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean.
That's a thing.
You can have my number. You can have it now. Yeah.
Perfect.
So what we're going to do, Big Daddy's going to give us a few minutes and wrap things up and kind of get us fired up as we head out the door. During this, we're going to give you the word, and if you're in that chat room, you got to put this into the chat only once. So, Brian, the word is?
I'm going to give you a phrase in honor of Sean.
A phrase? Oh.
Yes. Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. You need to put the words heck yeah in the chat room, and you will be the person. Then I'll get these all written down and such. So, Sean, I'm gonna make your video the big one, and my friend, you've got the floor.
Thank you guys so very, very much. My friends, I'm here to close this out. Everything is so crazy right now. All the education that you guys got and you will get once you go back on if you missed anything whatsoever. Remember, everybody that worked on these did such a great job, and take as many nuggets as you can. Right now, we're going through something we've never, ever, ever seen before. And by the grace of whoever, I hope we never see this again. But remember, stay as positive as you possibly can, and don't call it pivot. Call enhancing your entertainment or whatever. Remember, right now, while you're not as busy as you used to be, concentrate on your family, your kids. I am as blessed as I possibly can be with 5 grandkids and a 6th on our way in March. I'm trying to spend as much time as I can with them. Take care of your health. Get out there, work out, whatever it is. Everything you need to do starts in the morning. You wake up, you face forward, you go, I got this, we got this, or whatever. And finally, don't stop believing. You can't stop believing in what you're doing. There's a same day every day. Every day's the same, but there's new rules. Follow those rules. Wear a mask, whatever the case may be. This isn't a political thing. This is, remember this. I'm only a phone call or a message away. All the people that were on here tonight, as Shani said, reach out to these people. And Brian reminded me that I called Howie Darkstar a couple of days ago. Just as I sang him, I just called to say I love you. Guys, I will do that to everybody. I sing over 3,000 happy birthday songs. Nothing is going to change. Next year, I'm going to be busier than I ever have been, getting to spread love and spread life. I will be sharing a story next week on my Facebook page about a wedding I have the honor of doing this weekend. A very special family friend wedding. It's nothing but heart. But remember, guys, you got this. Big Daddy loves you with all of his heart. And golly gee, heck yeah. And the story continues. And that's the end of that story.
That's it.
Beautiful.
Let me pop back to gallery there. Thank you, Big Daddy. Thank you for
Pleasure.
the words, the motivational words, the passion that you have for the industry and the love you've got for the people of the industry. Excellent stuff. Let's see. I've got I'm up to Robin, Adrian, JC.
Had good attendance tonight too, and last night.
Yeah, we've had some great folks and great numbers here.
Brian, don't forget to send me your number.
Well, I need yours first.
203.
Oh,
hang on, we'll get it off air.
I get my phone here.
Okay.
Are we off the air yet?
Not yet. No,
we're on the air.
We are on air.
That makes it even more fun. Everybody's got your number now.
Here's the guy. Here's guys. I'm giving it to Brian. Anybody else who wants to use it anytime. 203-253-1677. I am only a phone call away. And these 2 gentlemen that are on the screen with me, I am blessed to have them friends, brothers, and compatriots. We got you. We got you. Know that every day.
Okay, let's. Yep, drawing. We are up to the drawing. I'm going to move the screen over. So we have got our random number generator. We have 25 people who signed up there during that. So, Brian, what is our number of what we're going to? How many times are we going to spin the wheel?
Let's go 8.
8. Here's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So number 7 would have been Thomas Heath. I know, just giving that second place. So sorry, Thomas, you were that close. And number is David Hashnishki, I believe. I'm probably saying it horribly wrong, but David, you were the very first one to say heck yeah, and you are the winner of that. So David, what you'll need to do is reach out to me either on Facebook, if you were connected there. Otherwise, send me an email at john@discjockeynews.com. I need to get your information so I can get it to NLFX, and they will get you that $100 gift certificate. So you can go and pick up anything you want. That's that you use that $100 to anything. So excellent. Thank you guys for being with and being part of it.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, I think this is it. I think we're done.
All right.
We had
We're never really done. We're just done for now.
We're done for now. So DJNTV.com/chill. There's folks headed out to the chill room right now. Go out there, hang out. That's kind of the after party for tonight. So please go out and have a good time, and we will catch you.
I suppose I'll have to go host that.
You go out and chat for a while, yeah.
Go. Have fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Sean, you should come over too. Say hi.
I'm gonna.
DJNTV.com/chill, and that'll get you right there. Thank you once again, everyone. Have a good evening. We'll catch you next time. Bye, everyone.